Go live. It's getting it together, so I'll let you know in a split second what's going on.
Okay.
All right, boom. All right, so the YouTube is up and running. All right.
Okay.
Peace, love, and light to the family. We are back in the building. Okay. Know the Ledge Media. Welcome back to another episode. This is Tough Talk Tuesday featuring Blue Pill, joined by my guest for the evening, my brother Ken BRISBON. Now, because this is Tough Talk, you dig what I'm saying? We're going to focus and center on the conversation. This is not going to be a visual presentation tonight. I have some topics that are pulled up on my screen. I might screen share, do a little bit of reading, but for the most part, we're going to be chopping it up. All right, this is going to be cerebral. We want to take you out of your emotions and just have you think about what's being said. You know what I'm saying? You don't got to look at my eye to know that I'm coming from the heart. You know what I'm saying? But not through emotionalism, but we're going to deal with some facts tonight. So wait for y'all to get back in the building, get comfortable, and we're gonna delve into it. You know what I'm saying? I tried to or I attempted, should I say earlier, I threw that Know the Ledge theme song on because I know a lot of them probably missed that from the KTL radio days, but I don't know, for whatever reason, it wasn't popping. Let me see if we could jump this thing off on this side and if it registers. But I know what it is. It registers. I got a double feed coming from the Zoom and the YouTube are not synced on the same time. So I have to kill the audio on the computer in order for it not to be a feedback loop. So the only way that I could play the music is through the computer, and I would have to cut everything off so it wouldn't be feedback. So I don't think that's gonna work. All right. So you're gonna have to take my word for it. If anything, yeah, hit that cash app up the right way. I might start rapping for y'all. You know what I'm saying? We might get some bars out of Kenny. You did. But this has been a very active news cycle. Normally Tuesdays I do uh the what do I call it? The trending topic Tuesdays. You dig what I'm saying? That's normally my Tuesday dissertation for the family in the spirit of Know the Ledge Radio. But tonight is necessary to have some tough talk because whenever I'm slipping, you dig what I'm saying? I have people that I can reach out to, such as yourself. It just a little bit more insight, to center me and bring me back into focus. So if nothing else, what the people expect from us is commentary and narrative and perspective. I felt that there would be no other better guess because I seen the way that this was going. I seen the built up. I'm like, what better way to complement what the people want, but to bring them what exactly they need. You dig what I'm saying?
For sure.
So I'm going to very quickly get into some of these articles. I just want to preference this conversation. We're giving some people some historical background information, maybe on some of the topics that we're going to touch on this evening. And
Oh, I can see your screen too.
yeah, that's why I
Okay.
screen share. So the beautiful thing about the majority of this, as well as this particular format, is that with this format, I could get into my facts. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got a freestyle. I don't have to use conjecture. I don't have to ad lib. You know what I'm saying? I could go directly to the articles that are the source of a lot of what frames my thought process to say, look, I'm putting in a perspective based on A, B, and C. So last week and a week before that, even we were embroiled. And when I say we, let me preference that. I'm saying because they lump us and congeal us together collectively as a monolithic group, quote unquote, black people, especially when there's something traumatic happening, right? But when they was talking about Michael Jackson and Michael Jordan, they was talking about them as singular people who just so happened to be melanated, right? But when it comes to the drama and the trauma, that's a collective experience. So collectively, melanated people were going through this traumatic reliving of being picked on by everybody else who puts on blackface.
Hmm.
Right. So I just want to give people a tad bit, just touch on some background history as to what exactly blackface is, because we can't just guess and say, oh, people know the historical backdrop of what exactly blackface is. You dig what I'm saying? So this article goes the complicated, always racist history of blackface. Author John Straw's bio on why blackface keeps coming back. A series of scandals last week brought the issue of blackface, when non-black people darken their skin using makeup or other products to imitate a black person, roaring back into the cultural conversation. Democratic Virginia Governor Ralph Northam was embroiled in scandal last week after photos from his 1984 medical school yearbook were leaked, showing a person in blackface and one in Ku Klux Klan robes. Then Virginia Attorney General Mark Herring, who would be third in line of succession to the governorship, admitted that he had also appeared in blackface at a college party in the 1980s. And then on Thursday morning, the Italian luxury brand Gucci had to formally apologize after a backlash ensued over a turtleneck sweater that pulls up over the face with a cutout and exaggerated lips around the mouth. As a cursory glance at the fashion model reveals, the sweater looks unmistakably like blackface.
Mhm.
Oh, the shit was $890? Since blackface is having a moment, it seems like a good time to explore its history and origins. So I reached out to John Strauss Bow, the author of Black Like You, a popular 2006 study of blackface as a cultural practice in the US. We discuss how blackface was initially a way for poor, marginalized Irish Americans to signify to other white people that they were just like them, and how the practice died out in the 1960s and emerged once again in the 80s as an explicit racist reaction to diversity efforts on college campuses. A lightly edited transcript of our conversation follows. Sean Elling, when did blackface emerge in American culture? John Straussbaugh, blackface was an ancient European theatrical device that the Europeans brought with them to America, meaning Moorish. In Europe, it doesn't seem to have been so much a racial signifier as a color symbolism, and it was pretty simple. White meant light and daytime and good and safety, black meant night, darkness, bad and danger. So in Europe, for instance, demons and devils were often portrayed as black. And that wasn't their way of saying they thought that they were from Africa. It was their way of saying they were creatures of the night, creatures of the darkness. In America, the slave nation, where your whiteness or blackness is of paramount importance for the quality of your life and your social standing, blackface took on a very different meaning. It emerged in the 1820s where it was used in minstrel shows, which was sort of comic variety shows that depicted people of African descent. Sean Illing. And in those early days, at least, it was performed mostly by poor Irish white guys, right? John Strauss Bowles answers yes. It was created and performed mostly in the early years by white guys who had grown up poor and often Irish in the North. It was not a Southern art form at all. They were imitating blacks that they saw every day because the Irish and blacks in places like the Lower East Side of Manhattan were in the same ghetto together. They were sharing the lowest rung of the social ladder. So white Irish Americans were hardly better off than black Americans, and in some ways were on a lower rung on the social ladder. And putting on blackface and performing was usually a way for Irish guys to signal to other white people that they were white just like them. And the practice was passed on later in the 1800s to other generation of immigrants, to Jewish immigrants, for instance, because in the late 19th century, anti-Semitism was just as rampant amongst white Americans as racism was. And so they were saying, no, look, we're putting on blackface and imitating black people just like you. We're white, just like you. It was a cultural signifier. And then it passed on to women. They were called coon shouters. And in the 1910s and 1920s, it was a way for a lot of women to get into show business. They didn't have to wear blackface, though sometimes they did, but they were definitely doing everything else that a black stage performer would do. They were singing in black dialect and acting quote unquote black on stage. So it has this curious history of being a way for people who were nominally white but not considered white, but other white folks to say, no, we're white because we put on the black face. Now, that within itself, was more information than they teach in public schools. You know what I'm saying? Or more information than you get from emotional quote unquote leadership that's just reactionary to this particular practice. And it's not preferencing the origins, just so you can have a better understanding. Not maybe in your mind that it changes anything, but you should still have a cultural understanding as to what's taking place. Um, so I'm not going to read the rest of this article, but I will recommend the family. You see the title of it. Go and check it out yourself. You know what I'm saying? Go, inform some folk who might want to have a backdrop as to what it is that's taking place. Um, you know, and I say all that to say, you know, um, are melanated, quote unquote, carbonated black people, are they just any feelings? Are they making more of this than it's possibly is? Or is it a situation where we're surprised that they're surprised? What's your thoughts?
Well, um, the only thing I could do is laugh when these things are being read and the outrage and because I kind of created a bubble that I live in. So I'm trying to figure out, should I be offended? Like, I don't even know um, how to go about that, because right now my lifestyle is based on return on investment, right? Everything I do has to be a return on investment. So me being offended, what does a win look like, right? If I'm
Mhm.
if I'm if I respond to this, what's a win look like? Okay, I get in my feelings and people issue apology or something, and then what? And then I wait to be offended next week, right? To me, um, I think people have to develop some type of immune system.
Mhm.
How is it that people react or feel or are saddened by every single thing? The bad thing about this culture is it doesn't teach psychic defense, and it doesn't teach any type of pivot, right? It's pretty much you're at the mercy of media. You're at the mercy of road rage. You're at the mercy of the school system. It's just like there is no empowering space that I see
Yeah.
to people at all.
You
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 know,
want you
and
want offense. If
yeah, there's
every
no offense. There's
that
no offense. There's
require a response or knee-jerk response at that. So when do we have time to plan, plot, and strategize and execute where the mantra of the day is always no distraction? What does that look like, family?
what is look, if you told people right now, you know what, the best way that you can be proactive and avoid a lot of this shit is what if you limited your what if you limited your exposure to media? That means what if you didn't have cable, okay? And what if you filtered your social media? Right? Like, I don't know about these things until I hear people talk about them because I filtered my social media. So my social media experiences is things that better me, right? So when I sign on, I make sure I'm having an experience. I'm hooked up to tech websites. I'm hooked up with food websites, travel blogs. I'm hooked up with business sites. I'm hooked up with other entrepreneurs. So I have filtered my social media a particular way, and I filter my YouTube a particular way because my phone knows what I like, so it recommends videos to me. So I don't bring that kind of content up on my phone because I'm being proactive and I'm on offense. So I protect my eyes and my ears because I understand that this is a matrix. It's supposed to challenge me. It's supposed to put pressure on me. It's supposed to make me feel uncomfortable. Now, it is my duty to build the immune system. It's my duty to train. It's my duty to counter what the matrix does. Again, we are in a assimilation, right? And it doesn't matter what time you were born on this planet, there was always some type of system. Either it's man versus nature and natural selection, or it's man versus man, technological and financial Darwinism, right? Either either time you're born, it doesn't matter. There's always a system in place that's going to challenge man. Okay. Now, at this point, it's survival of the fittest based on your intellect. Now, an intelligent person would not be offended by people doing blackface, right? So anybody that's offended, I would have to question their IQ.
Mm. Right. I mean, and this once again, it goes back in the question of nature versus nurturing. You know, I don't think that it's in people's nature to be emotional about a word or the way that someone else depicts you. You know what I'm saying? But maybe the nurturing aspect of the people have been raised in a society that is pretty much based on racial triggers. You feel me? And especially for the uptick in racial triggers in the last 3-4 years, say, you know, the people are connected, right, collectively as a consciousness, as a body, whether it be as an egregor or whether it be something physical, you know, that when one reaction takes place, and also because they're now connected through electric nodes by way of the computer. So if something becomes trend worthy, right, or a celebrity starts a challenge or a campaign, you know, people feel compelled because the majority of people are getting online, you know, or they're lining up on the side of the passenger side of the vehicle as opposed to getting online and lining up on the side of the driver's side of the vehicle to say, I'm going to get on my timeline and drive this traffic today. You feel me? They showing up to be like, oh, what's popping today? You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to jump in this whip, like, you know, past that. You feel me? Crack that. You dig what I'm saying? Crank that up. You know, what's popping? That's their tribe. Like, you know, they just want to ride out for the day and feel a particular way. So if they're in it for that, which we see because of the way the social media is preferenced and framed where people are quote unquote followers, you know what I mean? They get caught in this wave, this groupthink mentality of saying, oh, you know, I'm supposed to feel a way.
Well, let me tell you why though. Let me tell you why. First of all, people live on social media. They don't work there. Okay. So if you work on social media, then you the moment that you sign in with an agenda. I think that's very important. What is your social media agenda for today? Why are you here? Are you just scrolling? Because we have to really look at the tools that we have at our disposal. And people are disgruntled about their relationship with social media only because they don't know what they're looking at. And the bad thing about it is once the internet is monetized and once it hits everybody in the face on what you have at your disposal, by then it's going to be too late. The marketplace is going to change. We don't look at the tool of social media of what it is. It's an opportunity to expand. Okay. It's an opportunity to be global. It's an opportunity to get rich very quickly. Yes, it takes generations to build wealth, but rich is a dollar amount. So we can scale a business in 3 to 5 years. We can go zero to $1 million very quickly through social media. I haven't made $1 million, but I definitely have upgraded my lifestyle from 6-7 years ago. Okay.
Facts.
All using a phone, my connections, social media has improved my life. So because I don't live on social media and I work on social media, it's counterproductive for me to read articles about blackface because that has nothing to do with my work. Okay. If I buy a $700 phone, that is for business. I am not just randomly taking selfies. This phone is a business phone. Look at the calendar in it. Okay. Look at the task manager in it. Okay. So my experience cannot be an experience where I'm bringing trauma to virtual reality. Now, let me get into that too. The mistake that people make because they don't know what a timeline is, okay? And people got to watch what they share, watch what they scroll. Now, a timeline on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you even had Tumblr, right? You have these things called timelines. Now, what does it do exactly? A timeline allows you to imprint yourself on into virtual reality. It's inside of the cloud. It's in the cloud, okay? So you have people that come on social media, Instagram, all social media platforms, and they expose people. They talk about their problems, their trauma. They're talking about race. Now, virtual reality was innocent. It did not know any of these things from the human experience until we imprinted it there. Now,
Right.
the mistake about when you do that on your timeline is you increase your problems tenfold or 1,000-fold because it's going into the cloud. It's on a server. If you and I go to a restaurant, what is the server going to do?
It's gonna ask you what you want.
Right. And then what it's going to give me what I asked for,
It's
correct?
gonna give you what you asked for. Yeah, it's
Okay.
gonna serve you.
Right. So when you post a police brutality video on your timeline, what is the server going to do for you? Because again, this is your digital signature on virtual reality.
It's
When
gonna
you go to,
serve up more of
yes,
that
sir.
entree.
Yes,
Like,
sir.
okay,
Yes, sir.
like how YouTube calculates your algorithm and they give you suggested viewings. Oh, recommended
Right.
viewings. You want some more of this?
Right. Right. So what happened is of course, again, Black Americans are behind the information 8 ball yet again. This always occurs, right? Where something happens and Black Americans are late to the party. So Black people do not know how to use the internet. Okay, so this is why they're having traumatizing. So how do you explain this? You have Black people having traumatizing experiences on the street, and then you have Black people having traumatizing experiences in virtual reality. Now, virtual reality was the place where there was no racism.
Mm.
There is no quote unquote systematic oppression in virtual reality. Now it is because people have imprinted it there. But prior to that, it did not exist. And that was your opportunity to change the trajectory of your family. Okay. You may have been locked out of riches for the last 50, 60, 100 years, 200 years. But with the internet, that allowed you to change the financial history of your family. It allowed you to change your network of your family. It allowed you to make information upgrades that it usually took 15 years to make. Okay. So I can go to YouTube University right now and become an expert on something in 8 months that it usually took someone 7 years.
Facts.
Okay. So it is mind boggling to me about the conversation that people are having in the information age. Blackface in 2019. And the reason
2019.
and the reason why these things keep occurring because Black people are very easy to pick at. You're going to respond because Black people are living an emotional experience, and it's going to be very sad when the internet as a whole becomes monetized, and you're going to have to pay. It's going to be like an internet credit, and you're going to
Right.
have to pay to be online. And
You have
there
to-
you
right.
missed your window, and it's going to be real sad, man.
You're gonna have to buy into your trauma.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Cause they paying just cause what? They want to go and see about what is it? Hot tea.
Hot tea, shade.
Hold on, hot tea, spilled
Mhm.
milk, and warm piss. Right? That's what they into.
Hmm.
And they'll pay
Mhm.
for it.
Love it. Tea and shade. So it's actually there's a subgenre that has been created in the last 3 years, and it's called shade culture, right? This is a culture that cancels you when you don't Black Twitter, right? So shade culture. Now, you and I know about the biology of belief, right? So let's apply the biology of belief to shade culture and exposing culture. If that is my yearly diet, what am I doing to my cells? If my experience all day is an actual experience that never existed. Now, when you think about the early 1900s, 1800s, 1700s, when you think about the history of man, especially at the dawn of the industrial age, human beings minded their business. You understand?
Facts.
You didn't know about the lives of other people. Okay. So now you know about the lives of other people. Okay. And that pulls you away from your work. That pulls you away from ingenuity. That pulls you away from genius. That pulls you away from potential. And now you are having a full-fledged conversation on someone else's life, not their success habits, neither. You're talking about their flaws. Okay. And people are making content and building platforms about other people's flaw. Hey, man, did you? Oh, also, you have people giving opinions about an opinion. What is your reaction to LeBron's comments? Right? What is your reaction to Soldier Boy? So a person does a behavior, and then we all discuss the behavior. Now, last time I checked, uh, the net worth of the average Black American household as of 2017 was $13,000. Okay, now for people on average, their net worth, their household is worth $13,000. How I have to question your IQ for you to have that conversation. And the majority of Black Americans, when their mother dies, they have to do a GoFundMe. They have to do a fish fry. They have no life insurance. In a capitalistic society, the concept of economics is not the priority. Okay, so that's what happens with shade culture. It has created a subgroup, and it's to the point now where they have become like the untouchables in India, where knowledge, they cannot receive it because they've been fucking with that poison for so long that if you did come and try to reform them, you will not be lucky. The days of the master teacher, quote unquote, waking the people up, that has come and gone. That will never, ever happen again. Ever. Mark my words.
Do you think that it's on the account? I mean, let's say, and I was just doing some research over the weekend because it's available, you know what I'm saying? And this was talking about the mass gurus around the planet who have followings into the six figures, some into the sevens, you know, who have impacted people possibly into the millions. And I was looking at the way that the majority of them are enraptured in scandal. You know,
Mhm.
John of God out of Brazil, he had over 600 women come out and say that they were sexually abused by him. His daughter said that he was sexually abusing her. They said that he was running a sex farm in Brazil
Mhm.
where he was making, you know, he took the young women from the villages and he made them have the babies. And then after 10 years, he murked them, he killed them off. You know, you got Nidiyama, you know, our brother, the tantric mongoose. And, you know, same allegations, you know what I'm saying? So I'm seeing this recurring theme with people that have large followings and, you know, that are very part of the Piscean age, you know what I'm saying? That people were enraptured by, they have beliefs caught up in these people. And you know, even some very modern Aquarian examples that have occurred right here in this community.
Mhm.
You dig what I'm saying? And because of that, you know, because of that bad press and that media that goes along with it, like you said, the shade culture that would never let the audience forget about it. I can't see that as well. Like I can't see a quote unquote leader that comes and connects and speaks to the masses in the age of social media when somebody's in the audience at all times Googling and, you know what I mean, just looking for that little one thing like how they said with the Fire Festival. I don't know if you've seen that documentary, but with Ja Rule.
Okay, got
But
you.
they they went and they got $1 million Victoria's Secret fashion models to build this thing up. If somebody with a following of 300 people, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like a following of 300, he was the one to catapult. He pretty much took the whole thing down with one picture, and he showed what the lunch looked like. Cheese on a slice of bread, and that was finito. Like it bodied the whole thing. So millions of dollars in marketing went down the drain just by someone who in the social strata would be considered quote unquote insignificant if what you gauge it upon is somebody's following or social status is gauged on, oh, how many followers you got. You dig what I'm saying? So that's what the leadership is up against in this particular paradigm.
Maybe that's a good thing though. Maybe in fact, that's a great thing because before we go into another level, we have to burn shit down. Okay, we got to experience some type of pain, right? Women go through childbirth and it hurts, but it brings new life, right? Forests burn, but it brings new life. Maybe it's a good thing because maybe it's time to do away with the concept of leaders. Okay, because all world knowledge has been uploaded to the cloud. This is the first time in modern history after global cataclysms that man can be a ministry unto himself, man. What do you want to be? Who do you want to be? Right? Now let's expand the ideal of ancestry, okay? Ancestry isn't just blood. Ancestry is energy, okay? So anybody that walked this planet, you have access to their consciousness because it's still here.
Right, it's in the cloud.
Facts. It's in the cloud. You want to think like Einstein, you can. You want to move and be vicious like Caligula, you can. You want to tap into Himotep, you can. They're still here. They never leave, right? So with that being said, why the fuck do I need a leader? To do what? To take me where? This is about self-actualization at this point. And the bad thing about the leadership of the Black community, it has preached about this collective ideal. But when you go outside, it's a dystopia. It's not real. Okay. And that has pulled people away from their actual purpose coming to the planet. I can't take the Black community with me when I die. I can't put them in that casket with me. That is not my purpose coming to the planet. My purpose, as Bobby Hemmett once said, is you got to make a phone call to your own ass, man, and wake yourself up because you have amnesia. You have amnesia because you're here on this rock and you're trying to return back home. But meanwhile, while you're here, we get caught in this human shit. Okay? And we expire. There's no return on investment. These ideals that we play with are nothing but fantasy. Nothing but fantasy. But we watch the Matrix movie, but we don't really understand it though. Okay? So it's a good thing that leaders and shit like that are falling because the people don't need them. Man is autonomous, yo. And there's always been on the books a debate about the Black IQ level. Now, some people would argue, oh man, that's the white man shit. Man, listen, check this out. You have to question the intelligence of a people that cannot raise themselves up and they can read and write. Now, if you can read and write and you have access to free library cards, now I'm gonna say that a few more times so people can understand what I'm saying. A free library card. What does that allow you to do? A free library card allows you to walk in a library and take 16 books, okay? And you can renew them every 2 weeks. Sounds trivial, right? But let's get into it. I have the ability to take myself from a nigger into higher levels of thought with a free library card. So that means I have no master. There's no fucking concept of oppression. I know niggas won't like that, but there's no concept of oppression because I can read and I can write. Now, me being able to read and write gives me what? My number one weaponry. And what is that? Language. And language is a vehicle that allows me to open up a new pathway for my life. Why? Because words create worlds.
Facts.
Okay? Words create worlds. If I'm sick and tired of my situation, I can change my situation and my family situation through the use of language. Okay? So the problem with leaders is I don't need no one speaking on my behalf. I speak for myself. Okay? I know what I want. I know which direction I'm going, right? I speak for myself. I don't need a leader conflating my ideals and lumping me with a bunch of people I don't know. No, 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 no. This is where I'm going. And I'm gonna use language to get there. So it's a beautiful thing that things are burning down. It needs to happen so that people can move forward. Now everybody ain't gonna go, right? And I'm not in a space where I am identifying with the least. I'm not identifying with the crackhead, yo. I'm not identifying with the junkie. I have compassion because I understand it. I come from that shit. However, the least of us, I'm not building a narrative on the least of us because that negates Jeremiah Hamilton, who was a black millionaire in the 1800s. That negates Reginald Lewis. That negates Adam Clayton Powell. That negates Marcus Garvey. Okay, right? I'm not going to keep aligning myself with the people that can't get their fucking life together. Oh, my people, my people. No, 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 no. Okay, let's be clear about what that is, and that's why we don't need leadership because it's so-called leadership that lumped us all together, the non-productive with the productive. It lumped together those without ambition with ambition. It lumped together the downtrodden who wake up in the morning and have no life in them with people that are busting their ass. Now we have to draw a line in the sand. And the first way to do that is let all leadership burn. So you can self-define and see what works for you. I know people won't like that, but I don't give a fuck.
Hey. Whew. I need some sound effects on this shit. Boom. I mean, that day was a beautiful summary. You know what I'm saying? That's some tough talk that's very necessary that the people need to hear. You spoke of this aspect of IQ, which is normally a very controversial topic. You know what I'm saying? And I've done some studying on it. I haven't read enough material to be expertly versed in it. You dig what I'm saying? But I often, speak about my observation of melanated people in the late 1800s and the early 1900s who were initially just introduced, supposedly, allegedly, to the English language, taught to read and write, and the level of mastery of etiquette that they were able to develop in such a short amount of time. And then the inventions that, our people came forth with, some which were credited for and others which weren't, kind of like baffled me to say, how can a people with such a short reading history, such a short history of comprehension of this particular language or this culture, how could those people look at problems and come up with solutions, in the frame of mind in which they had to work with whatever was accessible at that time.
Mhm.
So how do you think that that stacks up against these scientific research and studies into the disparities of IQ as it relates to quote unquote race?
Well, the thing about IQ, there's a dude named Philip Rushton. They used to do a lot of IQ tests. Charles Murray. Then, of course, you had the bell curve in the 90s, right? And even going back to Greek times, right? You know, the Greeks were obsessed with proving themselves more intellectual. Now, intellectual, okay, mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes we measure dominance by body. And that's one aspect, but that's the male portion of the species. The man's portion of the species is mind. Okay. So the Greeks, they was obsessed with calling people barbarians and those that couldn't reason, you know, the trivium, logic, reason, rhetoric, all that stuff. That's the mind. Of course, they was getting all that shit from North Africa. Let's be clear. Babylon, all that shit. But
Facts.
they was obsessed with that. Now, coming to America, right? The European, again, has carried on that tradition and has been obsessed with this ideal of intellect. You know, they don't give a damn that black people got big dicks. They don't give a damn that niggas are strong. They don't care about that because their main thing is when it comes to intellect, the white male is superior. Okay. Now, to answer your question is the reason what I would introduce to these people conducting these experiments is I challenge their notion on IQ because they don't come from modern, they don't come from an environment that would produce the genius, because that's what IQ is a genius, okay, for problem solving. Now, I will say this, there was a time where the European had genius in them because that's how they had to come out of an ice age. They had to constantly problem solve. That's how the European got themselves in this where they're at right now. The ability to problem solve. Now, genius is not negative or positive. What it is creativity, and it comes from the environment. But I would argue about the IQ test. They say the Black American has an IQ of 80 and the African has an IQ of 70, right? And the Ashkenazi Jew has the highest IQ out of Caucasian race, but it's the East Asian or Asians that have the highest IQ when they do IQ tests. But I would argue that the Black American IQ, if we can measure it differently, would be the highest based on problem solving and what you have to endure to survive. Okay. Now they're basing IQ off the sciences, biology, chemistry. I understand that. But at the same time, they don't have a lot of times the environment that's pushing up against them, right? So they have free reign. They can experience their hierarchy of needs, whereas a black child is in the projects. So if a black child is in the projects and he becomes a chess master or a mathematician, I would argue that for that child to do that, then that child has to have a higher IQ than the European or the Asian, because the genius must come from a harsh background. Okay, when you look at Jay-Z and Marcy Projects, look at that environment, and this guy came from that in the '80s. Or you look at 50 Cent, or you look at Venus and Saria. They're from Compton. Okay, look at what the environment is producing. Genius comes from fucked up environments. The most brilliant people in the world are in jail. That environment is producing genius. Now, what is our environment now is not producing genius. It has left the African American community. It used to be there because genius bounces around through civilizations. Okay. Now genius is going to Latino culture. It's going in the Mexican. And you're going to see a lot of ingenuity and innovation coming out of Mexican culture because they have pushback against it. Now, this is not my feelings. This is just studying genius. And when you study civilization, the rise and fall of civilization, the rise is when genius is activated, and the fall is when genius is activated. The reason why Africa fell is because there was nowhere else to take the genius. They hit the pinnacle. You have to fall. The reason why Europeans rose is because they was at the bottom. And genius, or we call spirit, activates itself with the people that are in the harshest conditions. That's how genius goes. Same thing happened with China. Now look at China. Look at Japan. Look at emerging companies. Hell, look at Africa. Look at Nigeria with Echo Atlantic. Okay, coming out of colonialism. Some of the brightest minds in the world are coming out of Africa. In fact, it's more black billionaires in Africa than it is in America.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Donkete in Nigeria, right? Look at the African women that are billionaires. Look at the genius that's coming out of there. Now, Black Americans had their genius, and now you see you see the civilization fall, you see the society fall. But to answer your question, genius comes out of harsh environments, and I don't think they use the IQ test fairly, because what they're considering IQ is not IQ. What they're considering IQ is a head start. So I can't say that you have a higher IQ because you have a head start.
Right. So we're saying that pressurized environments, produce diamond-like genius.
Yes, sir.
And by that same criteria, what it is that we're looking at in this society, right, or quote unquote Black America, and especially for some of the generation that's just coming forth, I think they call them Generation Z or the woke generation,
Mhm.
The youngins, what I'm saying? They're experiencing something that to them might be categorically new because they hadn't experienced it before. So this new pressurized level of racism and discrimination and singling them out, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
This return to the norms of which their grandparents or great grandparents might have experienced, is this not their trip around the sun of dealing with pressure that ultimately will produce diamonds and genius?
No, sir. Because again, look at the access that they have, right? You know what I'm saying? Look at the first of all, the work was done for them. Okay. You can't even use pronouns right now. Okay. You can't there's hate speech. You can't even have a regular conversation. Legislation has made it so people are very comfortable. Genius doesn't come out of comfort.
Mm.
Okay. A lot of the youth are spoiled children. Okay. They're not being challenged, right?
Uh,
There's no innovation coming. And when you look at their diet, the Shade Room, Baller Alert, Love and Hip Hop, Basketball Wives, and then the arts is not challenging them. So there's no pushback. That's why there's no genius coming. You know what I'm saying? In the analog, listen, who is the Elijah Muhammad right now? Who is that?
I mean, the closest thing to Elijah is his student messenger, who was the minister, you know what I'm saying? Outside of that, I don't know if I can make a comparative analysis.
Who's the Noble Drew Ali right now?
There is none.
Now, the reason why I'm mentioning these names is because these names were their mind. They're known for their mind and also the fruit that they produced. You see the genius that came from these people? Who is Frederick Douglass right now? And it ain't Umar.
Shout out to Umar, man. He found his school, man. Wilmington.
He did not find his school.
All right, we'll talk about that.
He did not find his school. You know what I'm saying? But again, who is the Booker T. Washington?
Um, yeah, you know, those, like you said, those individuals came about during a particular specialized, pressurized environment,
Exactly.
and they were formatted, you know, as solutions for that particular problem of that day and time. Um, and you know, this is my conversation even tonight about the lackadaisical nature of a people who have become so complacent that they're emotional about everything. So if blackface is the pressure, what will
Come
that
on, bro.
possibly?
Right.
I'm just
Exactly.
saying they turning it up, right?
Exactly. Come on, bro.
Right. This is what people is talking about. So if blackface is the pressure, what can that possibly produce, right? In relation to what Jim Crow produced, in relation to what Reconstruction produced, in relation to what just coming out of slavery and having to catch up, you know, and you're 300 years behind. Like, what does that produce? So those are the markers that actually had to produce the genius, where the universe gave somebody $1 billion idea to say, I can't catch you up in time, but maybe these resources will help.
Right. Right. So let me tell you what it's producing. Because so if blackface and Gucci is, you know what I'm saying, these things are your pressure, let me tell you what it produces. It produces woke culture. Okay. A unaccountable group of millions of people who are social justice warriors, who want special treatment, who want people to talk to them a certain type of way, who are unproductive, unambitious, unindustrious, right? I'm throwing them words out them because that's what it is. Woke culture, right? Who talk about white supremacy, who are PR for white people, right? Who have the belief in white supremacy more than they have a belief in themselves, right? Not knowing that the term white supremacy is the ultimate compliment because white in the dictionary means incapable of a moral impurity. And when you attach it to the word supreme or supremacy, what you're attaching it to is authority. What you're attaching it to is sovereignty. What you're attaching it to is high moral character. That's what it means to be supreme. Okay? So woke culture, they talk about what's fair and what's not fair. Check this out. There's no such thing as equality. That can never happen because nothing is the same. People aren't the same. You can't have fucking equality. What you have is productivity, and you get fruits based on what you produce. Okay? So this weak pushback is producing soft generation of men and women, right? You have you
We
have
call
you
it
have
snowflake culture.
bro, you have black men that are running around saying that black women kicked them out the house in the 60s and 70s. And that's why the generation is the way it is. Because they came home one day and black women said, no, nigga, you can't live here, right? Where his children were. And what he's saying is he actually left. Now, do you know how that sounds to other men?
Mm. I
You'll
mean, speaking
actually
on it,
say out of your mouth that your woman kicked you out the house and you actually left? Did she call the police? Nah, she just said I
and
can't come in.
this is what
And
I'm
you
saying.
left?
And
And
I,
nigga, where did you go? Where
where
did you
did you
go?
go?
If black men got kicked out the house by black women for welfare, nigga, where did you go? Who house did you go to? That's what it has produced. It has produced people that talk like that. You know what? The system of white supremacy. Yeah. My nigga, he just robbed me, but I forgive him though, because it's white supremacy. Stupid talk, dumb talk,
Yeah.
right? You got a calcified pineal gland. If I ask somebody, how do you measure that? Show me how you measure someone's pineal gland being calcified. And why are you on child support? But the person that got a calcified pineal gland, he's with his mother, the mother of his children. He goes to work every day. He has a meaningful life. but you're falling apart. But his pineal gland is calcified, right? That's the talk that it produces. See, what that genius produced was industriousness, bro.
Fact.
When, yo, bro, I went to the Civil Rights Museum in Memphis, right?
Memphis, okay.
Right, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I cried, right? I cried because I was so disrespectful to those people. I used to call them coons. I used to call them Uncle Toms, you know, rebellious, black, welfare conscious shit, right? That's how I used to talk. That's
Rhetoric.
the rhetoric. I used to disrespect those people. Man, if I was alive, I did. Man, I went to this museum, bro, and I seen them black women on the wall that went to prison and left their babies at home. And I seen the pictures of them old ladies that walked for miles and they was all on the same page, right? So that wasn't they didn't necessarily produce industry, but the genius of unity. Yeah. This is why you cannot have a grassroots movement like that since. It's that pushback that created that movement. Now, genius is just not an industry. Genius is an art. Look, hip hop. Hip hop came out what? During the drug era. And listen to the music, listen to the instruments, listen to the sound. It was at its height. Genius came, genius went. So genius is displayed through community. Genius is displayed through art, music, poetry, literature, right? But it comes from harsh environments.
Hold on.
Now, if you want black people to wake up or you want black people to do better, you have to eliminate choice. You have to put black people in an environment that's like a dictatorship. Because as long as you have quote unquote democracy, these people ain't gonna do nothing but nigger around.
Now, somebody in the chat said civil rights system didn't work, brother. And, you know, I used to be, just like you said, I was very critical of the civil rights movement. I was very critical about civil rights, quote unquote, leaders, until I started doing my research. Instead, I came south and I started speaking to people that were actually involved that walked with King, that were able to explain to me, you know, what the methodology was. And then I was able to do some research on the legislation that King was actually responsible for getting passed. And I learned about the Great Society, you know. So at the same time, while the brother says, you know, civil rights did not work, you know, I would argue that, you know, without being disrespectful, you know what I'm saying, without welfare, it would look totally different in this country. Without Social Security, you know what I'm saying, bumped up to the degree where it's SSI, without a lot of different Medicaid and Medicare, there's a lot of programs that came out of that particular legislation that was forced, you know, by the policies the civil rights movement enacted or brought about, the shit would look totally different. And as evidence of it, I seen the panic when people thought that they was about to lose some of that stuff with the government lockdown. So in spite of, right, and in place of the fact that civil rights, according to you, doesn't work, not you, I'm saying the person in the comment, like, would have melanated people themselves and that time, you know, presented or brought to the table, they're sustaining for themselves or us as a body politic, as a people. So it's very unwise, you know.
It did work. Civil rights did work. Civil rights wasn't for black people, it was for whites. Let me tell you what I mean by that. What Martin Luther King did was he implanted a different morality in white America. That's what he did. Now, if black Americans can get out of their anger and look at it objectively, Imagine you being a white male born in the 30s and 40s and 50s. Okay. You're born into a reality where the narrative is these people are subhuman. The nigger is a monkey. He's this, that, and the third. He's a second class citizen. So, of course, you're going to fall in line. Similar to the way Black people fall in line about the rhetoric with Mexicans. The average Black person looks down on Mexicans. That's a fact. That's a fact. You've been talking about Mexicans since man, look at all them niggas in one house. Look at them in a car. The same rhetoric. We're just not violent to them. But that's not true, because when I was in school, we used to beat Mexicans up.
Shit,
right?
We used to beat them up when I
We
was
used
in
to
school.
beat them up. Okay, so look, check this out. What Martin Luther King did in the civil rights, he changed the awareness of white people, not all, but some. He changed white clergy. That's who matters. White legislators, white business owners. Okay. He changed the hearts of minds of white Americans. Now, niggas not gonna like that, right? But that's true. Listen, this country has 77% white Americans. Okay. Let me tell you why that's important. You remove Martin Luther King from the equation. Do you know what racism would look like, my nigga? With 77% of the population, we're talking about almost 200 million people identifying as Caucasian in America. You hear that number?
Yeah.
Remove Martin Luther King from the equation. What does race look like in America? Of course, we're still going through things. Of course, naturally so. We have a nation of 300 million people. So we're going to experience things. But what Martin Luther King did was he affected the minds of clergy, people in powerful positions. Now, the problem is many Black people talk with a pain body. You're upset because your father didn't hug you and your mama's on drugs and your sister's a jump off and you haven't got an opportunity yourself. So what you do is you take that pain and broad stroke it and apply it to the world. Well, let me tell you how the world looks when you travel. The world is fucking beautiful. People are beautiful. Some are ugly, but people are beautiful. And if the world doesn't even know you exist, you're unqualified to say whether civil rights works or not, because the world doesn't know you. And you're known by your contributions. You're known by your work. If you say civil rights didn't work based on Philando Castile getting shot, then I would have to question your IQ. Where have you been? Because when I go outside, it's all love, right? And people want to seed into me because I make myself available, right? So civil rights did work. What it was trying to do is change the consciousness of a group of people, okay? Now, keep in mind, when Martin Luther King died, he was only 39. Let that sink in. 39, a young man who was not even in his prime yet. So of course mistakes was made, right? Of course mistakes was made. You know what I'm saying? Martin Luther King wasn't a businessman. Okay, so I don't expect him to be I don't expect him to be at the forefront of economics.
Economics, right.
But guess what? Thomas Sowell is a Black economist. Does the community know about him? Right? So I don't expect Martin Luther King to do that. But what he did, it worked. I know, because my life is the shit. My life is fire, yo. And I know that I'm a beneficiary of the work those people did. I can't speak for everybody else, but my life is the shit, bro. I do what I want. I live good. I eat good. I smoke good. I drive good. I travel good. And that's off people's blood. So when somebody says civil rights didn't work, for who? It wasn't supposed to work for everybody. It only works for people that participate. Now I know that's not welfare consciousness. So niggas not gonna like that. And I'm not telling you your melanin is popping. And I'm not telling you the mother and father of civilization. That's liberal bullshit. And that right there is welfare, keeping niggas in their place. So you walk outside with no money in your pocket, but you say, well, at least I built the pyramids. That's the same thing as a cracker saying, well, at least I ain't black, but he dead poor. Just in reverse. So civil rights did work. It's a lot of life out here. You better go get you some.
Well, you know, I think that people that have that particular ideology are going to be pretty much stuck with that ideology. You know what I'm saying? And they're prefacing it from the places that they're going to preface it from. You feel me? But as I said, I had the ability to do some research for myself and see it from a different perspective. You know what I mean? And I do believe that for what he set out to do, and him as not him alone, but him as it pertained to the movement and what they were doing for melanated people in particular, because they were not recruiting, right, for Christendom. They wasn't trying to make quote unquote black people become Christian or more Christian like, right? He saw a societal ill, he saw an issue, he saw a problem, right? The poverty of our people, the disparities that existed in education and also in the job sector. And he put his 1-2 together and he used media, right? Which was a very new thing at the time. Being able to beam images in people's living rooms across the world was revolutionary at that time. You might not see it for what it is from your point of view, family, from where you're sitting right now. But what he was able to do by using that camera, right, to beam images into homes across the world while America was attempting to export democracy as their main product, right, to other people, you know, he forced their hand. It was a political tactic, but he was able to use melanated people and white people in unison, right, getting their heads beat in. That was a sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? And certain things came out of it, not many of which we appreciate or like, or some people are in their feelings about. But I always say hip hop is a testament of integration. It's a byproduct of integration. You know what I'm saying? The people ran into the burning house and they was dousing shit off that was burning because they wanted to keep it, because they wanted the very same thing that they had seen in them commercials that walls were built around that they were deprived of from all of that time, to say, I want my take in that shit. And then European or white people was like, okay, well, let me get on this double-decker bus then, you know what I'm saying, and take a ride into the hood so I can see what you live like. And as 50 Cent said the other day, hip hop is like a safari where you can't touch the animals. You know what I'm saying? And I understood that analogy where he was speaking of. You feel me? Because it affords the viewer or the listener an opportunity to come into the nigga kingdom and not be part of it, right? You got a day pass. So, I mean,
I just
throw hip hop away.
Yeah, I mean, I just, I just disagree. But I understand though, a lot of our comments come from a hurt place though. So what these comments sometimes are not even well thought out. We just spew it, right? Because it comes from individual hurt. So we take our individual hurt and we apply it to the whole world and say, no, sir. What you're doing, you're hurt, ma'am. You're hurt. Now, why don't you address your hurt? And then when you look at the culture, it's a very hurt culture. Why do you think everybody's feet run towards evil? It's hurt people, hurt, right? And so, but when we say something like civil rights didn't work, like how would you know? How would you know if it worked or not? How would you know? You're here, you're on fucking YouTube. How you know it didn't work? For you to be on YouTube listening to shit like this, that means that you are in the top 40 percentile of the planet. Countries in Africa are just now getting internet service. Many millions of people in the slums of India can't get online. You're in the top 40 percentile. How do you know civil rights didn't work? A lot of the shit people take for granted, they talk that shit until they leave the country. Leave the country and see how people live, and then tell me if civil rights worked or not. Then say it was a utopia. Just because something is working, it's not a fucking oasis, but it's definitely working. It's working for me. I can't speak for anybody else. Just because I'm not rich as a Rothschild, and just because I'm not in control of the Federal Reserve, who gives a fuck? Who cares? Oh, what about Monsanto? Yeah, what about it, dog? What about it? That doesn't mean the shit ain't working. So we say a lot of comments from hurt places. But again, this goes back to the genius. The genius has left Black America, bro, for the most part. You have individuals, but as a collective, the genius has left. It stayed with us for a while. Again, it produced Jeremiah Hamilton. Anybody ever heard of him? He was a Black man rich in the 1800s. Right? Ever heard of him? Right? That's important. The genius has left the culture, so now you have what you have. And because of language, Black people will be, in the words of Claude Anderson, a permanent underclass. And I think we should take that real serious, because that same permanent underclass exists in India. You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you see the untouchables, and Black Americans are becoming the untouchables because of our use of language. We talk in the negative. Everything is in the negative. We can't do this. We can't do that. We need to wake up. We need this. We need to start our own. We need. We talk from a place of lack.
Be lack.
There is no concept of empire in the minds of the people. You know the highest shit that you can be in Black America, Blue? You know what the vision board is?
What's that?
A fucking pastor. Our
rapper.
Heroes, sir, our heroes are civil rights leaders, personalities, not businessmen, not entrepreneurs, not marketers, not generals, not scientists, not biologists. Pastors and motivational speakers. That's the leadership of Black America, not people that are engineers, bro. Pastors, my nigga, and personalities, motivational speakers. That's a problem. If they have to take you to the leaders of Black America, it's ministers. Think about the history of Black men in America that we revere. Ministers, nigga. And what? Right? There's no nuance there. That's a problem. And what that has done is that it has put people in a place where they have nothing to reach for, bro. They don't want to be shit. What do these niggas want to be when they grow up? The highest thing they could be is a fucking minister. Name a Black paleontologist. Name a Black anthropologist. Name a Black archaeologist. Name a Black theologian. Name a Black mathematician. These are the sciences, bro, that control the fucking world. Name a Black marine biologist.
Yeah, like I said, I think that the pastor might have been replaced with the rapper. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's a bad thing. So what I deal with is confidence, right? The collective consciousness is down. That's why the behavior the way it is, right? And if Black people begin to see themselves differently, if we begin to see ourselves not as, yo, check this out. Blue, if there's a story told of people slaving and there's a story told of people doing the slave, being the slave, which one do you think Black America is going to identify? Say you don't name them, say you don't put a color on them, anything. If you told a story of people enslaving people, who do you think Black America is going to identify with?
The slave.
The slave. In every situation, Black America always identifies with the person that lost. Right? We say, oh man, Moors participated in the slave trade. Moors did that to us. Now, how do you know your parents, how do you know your descendants wasn't the Moors that did that? You automatically need to be the slave. You automatically have to participate in the victim Olympics, the oppression Olympics. Automatically. It's hardwired into the Black American psyche to automatically align yourself with the losing team. And what that does, it produces a negative behavior and a negative language. The community in Black America, the ghetto, right? If you fucking blindfold me and take me there and I don't know where I'm at, you know how I'm gonna know I'm in the hood? By the way people talk. And guess what? When you take the blindfold off, the environment is gonna look like the language. It's a fact. The hood can change overnight if people change the language. The language changes from confidence. You have to see yourself as a star. You have to see yourself as valuable. And I'm not talking no fake ass, yo, melanin is popping. I'm not talking about no shea butter shit. I'm talking about some real value shit where you walk into the room and no one is better than you. In fact, when we start dealing with expectations, see the standard and the expectation Black community is low as fuck. To be a good Black man, nigga, all you gotta do is be nice. That's what a good Black man is, a nice man.
Nice. Talk to me nice.
Yeah, be agreeable. Be agreeable. That's fucked up. If you're agreeable, then you are a good Black man. Not a builder. You don't have to be a builder. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to do anything remarkable. You don't have to do SpaceX or PayPal or Tesla. You don't have to build infrastructure or institution. Just be nice and you're a great Black man. Now, it's extra if you read a couple books.
Right.
So
and then the Moors are going to show up and explain to you that the etymology of nice is stupid.
Yeah, but
and then what? I'm just saying.
That's funny. Yeah, no, but that's true, right? But and that's fine. And all I would ask them is, you know what? Cool. Find us some language that is empowering.
Facts. Yeah.
Find it. Okay. What's the best? What about when someone asks me how am I doing? I say amazing. Amazing, right? You ask a nigga what's going on? Shit.
Ain't shit.
Ain't shit. What's that mean, bro?
What does that? No, geometrically, what does that look like?
What does that look like?
Because words are things, right? They said first it was word, then it was flesh. What is like? Ain't shit. What does that look like?
What does that look like, yo? Yo, what's going on with you, fam? What's up with you? What's new? Shit, I ain't on shit, you know. What's that mean, my dude? What's that mean? Now, the funny thing is, when we use words correctly, this is the reason why majority Black people don't use words correctly, because the culture polices itself. So they're going to say you're talking white. But if you read the way Frederick Douglass talked, command of the English language.
Garvey was a beast with it.
Facts, right?
Malcolm.
Facts.
Right? The people who we admonish the most are those who had the sharpest sword with language. Right? They was word tacticians.
Facts.
They knew how to piece them together, and they had very clear, distinct, monotone dialects. They spoke more so like this, right? They weren't mumble rapping. You dig what I'm saying? Those were always the alphas and the apex of our our collective situation. So I don't understand when people started putting their sword away. You feel me? It's warfare. And even with Umar, the thing that sets him apart that people speak on is the way that he speaks, his diction, his command of the language, right? His tonality.
Mm-hmm.
So these are things that have always worked. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I would
For
say the
better
way
or worse.
is a way of entertainment. It's entertaining, right? And we love entertainers. So we love people that play to our emotions, right? But to still the language that he uses, I don't feel better about myself when I'm listening to that shit. I don't walk away feeling like I can be anything in life. Because
Right.
only thing people
Maybe
telling me is how great the white man is.
maybe not you, but there are other people that are able to extract some level of value from from the brother's dissertation.
So that would mean that our standard is low then. Let's call
I
a spade a spade.
I stand as a different, right?
No. What I'm saying is the shit that these niggas talk, they can't get it off nowhere but black people. That's they can't get that shit off nowhere else but black people. Because there ain't no challenge. All you have to do is be angry, call a white person a cracker, and that's it. Appeal to emotions, talk about Black Wall Street, entertain, that's it. You can't get that shit off or nowhere. The reason why I respect Malcolm addressed the world, right or wrong.
Facts.
Where did Malcolm X take it? Where did Malcolm X present his case at, sir?
He went to Oxford.
And how many nations heard him speak? Hundreds, huh?
Mm-hmm.
World leaders, right? So he made a case for the Negro plight on a world platform, global.
Yeah, he had addiction, right?
Okay. See, these so-called leaders and personalities, they can't get that shit off nowhere else because other people are going to ask concrete questions. See, it works for blacks because the standard is low. And what I'm saying is that's a problem. It might not be a problem for the grown-ups, but that's a problem for the children because what are you birthing these babies into? This low-ass standard of a culture with no fucking expectation, where anything goes and we celebrate failure. And if you ain't shit, it's perfectly okay because it ain't your fault.
Tough talk.
That's a problem. That's a problem. So when you ask me how I'm doing, I tell you I'm amazing, enthusiastic, because I have another shot today of being better than I was yesterday.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? And we're dealing with straight personal responsibility because we're in Aquarius age, sir, where you have to be the light. And whatever change you want to see, you have to be it. So I'm not going to say black people need. If I see a need, then I got to be the need and supply the need. I'm not going to wait on black people to do it. If I feel like black people got to control media, like that's bullshit. We're still saying that. Everybody about to get income tax. Who's about to go get media equipment? Oh, okay. See, that involves accountability. You know what niggas gonna get? Cars. And it's gonna be a bunch of TEP tags.
Whips. Oh, they gonna go get some Gucci on discount.
Facts.
Whip.
Facts.
or some Ralphie. All right, they gonna be like, oh, niggas off Gucci.
Facts.
Let's load up on Ralph.
Fact, man. You know what I'm saying? So the thing about it is I've accepted the fact that all skin folk and kinfolk and we all ain't going the same. And honestly, what it does is people are not in the achievement business. Therefore, it makes the path a little more easier because these niggas have talked themselves out the game. Just look at your chat. Now, when people say certain things, I know personally what their day-to-day life looks like. I know what their habits are.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just embarrassed that women fuck these guys. See, the problem is with the guys. The confidence of the black male is shot, my nigga. It's shot. It is trash. You know what I'm saying? It's trash. And it's trash because no one talks like this to them. It's kind of like the scene in Remember the Titans, where you had Petey fucking up on the football field, and then you had a dude come, the white coach, who wasn't challenging him and correcting him. So the black men that you have now are Democratic Christian Negro blacks, dog. Even the ones that are so-called conscious, they're liberal black niggas for real. They've been raised by the Democratic Party in Democratic hoods. So they have no personal responsibility for themselves. Nothing is their fault. And if you say you're not a slave, they will go to war with you to tell you that you are. They will fight for that shit. How dare you say you're not a slave? They will kill you for that shit.
What you mean, brother?
You understand? It's the black man that is fucking the culture up because of his confidence. If the black man stand on truth and knowledge, man, the women gonna fall in line. And if she don't, she just a renegade. That's fine, let her go. But for the most part, see, the women don't have time to make these fucking excuses because they got the children. So they don't got time to talk about the system, dog. They don't got time to be, oh, why we can't. Nah, these niggas got that time because they don't got custody of their fucking kids. Don't like that, huh? You don't like that. Because when you got your babies, you don't have time to be talking about no system, bro. You have to be in the problem-solving business because your child is going to turn 21. Why is that important? The marketplace is going to look different for your baby. How is your child going to feed themselves? Is your child going to be laid up on some woman's couch? Oh, okay. You don't see the jobs have been outsourced? Who do y'all get y'all information from? What game are y'all playing? You having these children, but where they gonna work at? You could tell me that my social security number is on the fucking stock market. You could tell me all that shit. You could tell me about Capitis Maximus Diminutia, nigga. My name is in capital letters, dog. You could tell me about the cosmos and astrology and all. That shit sounds wavy as hell. But can you pass your son an inheritance, though? Trust. What about trust? If you die right now, nigga, with all that knowledge, are we gonna do a fucking fish fry for you, sir? That's a regular question. We're gonna do a GoFundMe, nigga? You see?
Man.
That's confidence. That's confidence. And the thing about it is, if you heard the voice of Bobby Hemmett, if you heard the voice of Dr. Ben, if you heard Francis Cress Wilson, if you heard Leonard Jeffries, if you heard Queen Afua and Joel Pookrum, if you had the opportunity to hear Phil Valentine, if you heard these people speak, then it is your job to take it further than them.
Facts.
It's your job to take it further than them. Be greater than them.
Yeah. How do you add on? How do you build on top of that? You know what I'm saying? I just want to go about, becoming the appendix to that greatness.
Facts. How, you know what I'm saying? I had the privilege of hearing Phil Valentine when I was 17. That shit changed my life.
Changed mine too.
You understand? I heard Bobby Hemmett connect those stories of Jason's and the Argonauts, and man, he told me that this reality is all about me, and you know what I'm saying? I'm fucking that all these patriarchal gods, nigga, are demiurges. He called the story of Jesus Christ a Daldebroff. I heard that shit. You feel me?
Facts.
I heard that.
I heard it too.
I stuck with that. Bobby Hemmett told me we are the aliens. That's what he told me, that we are the aliens.
Facts.
So when I hear that information, man, I apply that in my day-to-day. But the thing that's different from me with other niggas is I take personal responsibility for my situation. If I fail, it's because a greater mind beat me. Period. I wasn't prepared. See, I can go down with that. Like it's like a chess game. If you're better than me and you win, you know, I could walk away from that table. But I can't walk away from that table knowing I lost the game and I wasn't prepared. So this goes back to the genius, Blue. What are the people doing to develop that genius? Because when you're developing that genius, you're not going to be talking about no goddamn blackface. That shit is not going to trigger you. Period. Period. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
When you are tapping into that genius, Blue, then you know sky is the limit, and your mind goes in directions like this. You know what? When are Black Americans going to make a mass migration to South American countries and open up businesses there?
Now, somebody such as yourself, you was in attendance with me when we were in Arizona at the Rock and Mineral show, at the gym show, right?
Yeah.
Was there any walls that were built around the opportunity that was being afforded to us to come to Central and South America to mine in people's mines, to extract minerals out of the earth? Did they not offer their mines and their daughters to us?
The only thing that will hold us back is a language barrier. That is it. That is it.
Right.
That is it.
So we know from being there and literally being able to count the outside of the Africa, they got something called the African Village, y'all, where they put all the African vendors at. But outside of that, throughout the show, we can count on one hand the melanated people that we saw there. Now, the majority of the stones that were in the show come from Africa and Brazil, but there was no what do they call them now? What is it? ADOC? American descendants of the continent or something like that, right?
ADOS.
ADOS. Okay, yeah.
ADOS. Yeah. African descendants of slaves.
Of slaves, right. ADOS. Okay. There was no ADOSs in the building. You dig what I'm saying? To do the level of interaction and commerce with international parties that converge right here in these continental United States to give you access to the rest of the world's mineral wealth. And this is what people actually go to war for, right? You can go in there with your swag and open doors, but there's nobody present in these places. So it'd be a case a lot of times of missed opportunities, and people will say, oh, I didn't have the opportunity because I didn't have the information. I would say that you're looking in the wrong places and you're prioritizing your time the wrong way in order for you not to be exposed to these things. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Man, it was a beautiful thing, man. We walked into that joint and we seen mining going on. And it was very interesting when we seen mining going on because I thought about all the entrepreneurship in America, well, you know, from the Black side. And I don't knock clothing lines, alcohol. I think that's dope if you get a lane from it. They're saturated markets though. And I was like, wow, you know, for us to claim this African history, which is the land, we don't have a knowledge of geology
At all.
so that was very interesting to me. We don't have a knowledge of precious stones and gems, but we're African though, right?
At all.
At all, right? And the most interesting thing is there was no Black American mining companies there.
Not one.
Not one.
Not one.
So
there was no Black American vendors there.
at all.
There was no vendors there at all.
At all. That at all. So that right there makes me scratch my head at all this fat mouthing going on. Because when you look at the marketplace, for the most part, the Black American is a no-show. And there was no police dogs that said me and you couldn't get up in there, bro. We walked right in there. Now, yeah, you could talk about this, bro. Because, you know, in our community, we know about selling weight. But what did they have there? Freight.
Yeah, freight. Yeah, you. They wasn't selling. They wasn't moving birds. They was moving weight by the freight.
By the freight,
By the
man.
freight. You understand?
By freight, man. Containers, bro. Containers. And right there, I realized that, man, you know what? We know a lot about hustling and shit. We don't know a lot about business.
Business. You have to criminalize business in order for melanated people to understand it for some reason or be interested to be engaged. Right? Shout out to Chicago Crypto Hustler. Brought the brother on the program last night. He had to explain cryptocurrency like it was work in order for people to get it. We don't have the wherewithal or the genius to adapt to something this amongst us that represents an entirely new paradigm, but one in which is formatted to answer all of the problems people have been fat mouthing about for the last 20 years saying that they have.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So for all of the conscious, all of the sovereignty talk that's been taking place, all of the autonomous talk amongst Moors, like outside of my dudes and what they call themselves, Blexit, right? That they started, they was behind the Blexit movie, the Blexit movement that what's her name in them started running with, Candace Owens,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I love Candace Owens.
Yeah, I forgot the brother's name per se, but he's been a guest on the show a few times. Um, and you know these are Moorish brothers, Moabite Association, Moabit Association is what they're called.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of them, I have yet to hear any Moors expertly marry the concept of blockchain technology to the autonomous aspects of what, you know, the concepts of being fed to people that sovereignty is, or doing for self, or creating trust, or just, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Just preparing yourself for this digital revolution that has already taken place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
So again, you have to question the IQ. We have to question the IQ and not be afraid to challenge, right? So, like with the Gem Fest and just things, period. The culture needs challenge. We're an emotional culture, so you can't say nothing to anybody if people start fucking crying and getting into their baby feelings, right? But you have to challenge, and through challenge comes the genius, right? Just like me and you were just saying, yo, we didn't see Black American miners there.
at all.
We didn't see no Black American miners. That's a problem. That is a huge problem, right? And again, there was nothing stopping you and I from getting into business.
We didn't see any major African miners as well. That was the real problem because the majority of them stones come from Africa. They had them in a shabby section of the show, tucked off to the side, where they were selling unattractive stones to keep it a
Mm-hmm.
stack. Them shits might have had mystical properties, but
Mm-hmm.
they wasn't selling like they were supposed to, like everything else was selling. They had one melanated vendor from South Africa. I believe he might have been from South Africa. He has a malachite mine. He was part of the main show.
Yeah.
Outside of him, no other melanated vendors were in the main shows, and majority of them stones came from the continent. And if they
Mm-hmm.
don't come from the continent, they come from Brazil. Okay. So the Asians were the dominant force. This was in 2015. We're talking 4 years ago. So I
Mm-hmm.
could only imagine what it's like right now.
I went
Right.
after that. I went after
Yeah.
that.
And you went
And
after that.
yeah, I went after that, and it was still like that. And what it showed me, and it made me take a challenge on myself. What it showed me is, first of all, I only speak one language. So automatically I'm putting myself in a fucked up position in terms of the marketplace because I can't even communicate with these people.
Mm-hmm.
And
You
that's
had a disadvantage, right?
I'm at a disadvantage because I speak one language, right? And the thing about it is, we usually speak two languages, English and bad English, right? So I had to correct bad English, right? I had to correct bad English so I can learn other things.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's a problem, right? So part of us being in the permanent underclass is not necessarily systematic. It's little shit like that. Like If they keep telling you that the country is damn near fucking half Mexican, half Latino, then it would behoove us to be fluent in Spanish, right? If we're going to really tap into minds and the real dominant producer of precious metals is Brazil, right? The precious shit. Like Brazil got the fly shit for real.
The fly
That,
shit.
that means we got to learn Portuguese,
Facts.
right? We got to learn Portuguese. So the fact that's what makes the African way more efficient and more prepared for the marketplace than the Black American, because the average African comes to America with 3 languages, bro. 3. French, English, something tribal too. They speak German. They speak Arabic. Come on, bro. Right? So, but I guarantee if we go back there now, I guarantee we'll see more African miners. You feel me?
Yes, indeed.
And that's a problem. And maybe, remember when I wrote the article a few years ago, Africans are Black Americans' worst nightmare?
Yes.
That's true. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, it was one African there. He had the goddamn raw copper, green shit.
Yeah, the malachite, the raw copper.
Right? And I guarantee you, if we go there, it's more. They're there again, right? Because the African is coming to America not playing. The African is coming to America with an agenda.
Right.
The African does not have a problem with capitalism, right? All the time that we said the college is a white man's school, the African doesn't agree. The college is a vehicle to get to the next step. It's expected in their culture for their children to go attend higher learning.
Indeed.
Fact, right or wrong?
Factory. Yeah,
and they're not going to community college. They're going to Ivy League schools. Am I lying?
They understand it as a means for, purposeful gain. It's upward mobility. So they got to play that game. Especially on a continent where we talk about brain drain and things of that nature, there would be no brains to drains if they weren't going to upper crust Ivy League schools. You know what I'm saying? They get a taste of that, and some of them don't go back. When some of them do, and some of them are over here getting niggerized. But, there's a good amount of them that still stick to the script.
Okay. So then before we get off this line, what's a script that the Black American can stick to?
Whew. Bruh, I mean, this is a conversation that I've been having. There isn't any collective consensus or voice amongst quote unquote Black America that represents one ideology. So I don't know if there exists a script. Tyreek says we got to stay on code.
And what's that mean?
I was about to ask you.
What's that mean? Stay on code. What's that mean?
Stay on code, B.
Yeah, what's that mean?
It just sounds good. It don't mean nothing. Stay on code. Nah, I mean, I'm sure that there's something that it means different things for different people at different times.
Well, let me tell you what stay on code means. Let me define it. Let me define it. So for us to stick to the script, we stick to the script with habits. Now, you don't need 1 million people to get on the same page. What you can do is get accountability partners, right? You don't need to unite with 1 million people. That's unrealistic. But you can unite with 10 people and go from there. You guys hold each other accountable. And you start small. This is how you stick to the script. We start looking at our habits, first of all right? What time are we going to wake up? So if you and I commit to waking up at 4:30 every day, I call you, I keep calling you back to back until you wake up. Why are we waking up at 4:30? Because we're about to hike this mountain. All right. From the when we're done hiking the mountain, then we're going to start on our project and commit to that for 5 hours. Then after that, we're going to go to a networking event. Then after, we basically want to keep going. But first, we check our habits. Are we doing everything in our power to become successful? Right?
Right.
Right?
You're saying,
Mhm.
right, that was an open question?
No. What? So, because what I'm
You're
saying,
saying, right, the building of habits,
because
habitual behavior brings about.
yeah. So here's the thing: the people talk about solutions, but the solutions are in fundamentals.
Explain that. Just break that down for some people that
Okay,
probably don't get it.
fundamentals, right? Like when you look at someone like Tim Duncan, his game was based on fundamentals.
Right. He has a fundamental game.
Yeah, shooting off the backboard, right? What is the fundamentals? Wake up early, right? Work hard, right? Keep your word, right? See, we don't think those are solutions, but they are solutions though. Okay? Have a vision board. Keep a pen and paper with you so you can write your ideals down. Right? That's a solution, right? Habits. What is it that you do when the first thing when you wake up in the morning? Habits. Do you check your bank account before you check your social media?
I do.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you check your bank account before you check your social media? Now, who's your accountability partner? Who's your mentor? Now, if you can't find a direct mentor, you find an indirect mentor. YouTube is full of them, right? If there's no one in your vicinity that's qualified to be your mentor, then you tap into a indirect mentor. So you take someone and you study them until they're not great to you anymore, and then you move on, right? If you want, say you want Master P to be a mentor, you don't physically have to meet Master P, right? But you can use him as an indirect mentor and you copy his success habits. Pay close attention to the things that he does every single day that makes him great. Now, let's go to repetition. Doing the same exact thing every single day, right?
Right. Right.
Do the same thing every single day. The solution is in the fundamentals. All right. Okay. Protect your eyes and your ears, meaning that you filter your life. So you don't allow anything that doesn't have to do with your bottom line through those doors. Now, there's a word that I just said, bottom line. What is that? Your bottom line is something that you are committed to, and you're not going to break that for nobody. Not no pussy, not your homeboys, not even your children, because they can't even see that far. You can't walk through life without a bottom line. What is your bottom line? That's important. Bottom line. Then from there you go to end game. What does a win look like? In the things that you're doing, what's a home run look like? Now, the other day on my Facebook Live, I was talking about vertical decisions, right? Now, we want to move vertically instead of horizontally. Now, what's a vertical decision? A vertical decision is worth 5 to 7 years. It's one decision that you make that's worth the average person's 10-year movements. One decision, okay? You make one decision and it's based on vertical growth, meaning you go straight up instead of horizontally. You don't want to say, yo, you know what? I'll get a promotion in 25 years. No. Let's get those results in 2.5 years. Vertical decisions. That's very, very important. Now, if I said that one vertical decision that works is worth 5 to 7 years. Now, what if you do 3 of those in 1 year?
I know the feeling.
Right? Now, let me give you an example of somebody that's made vertical decisions.
Yes.
Elon Musk.
Okay.
Elon Musk. Elon Musk is somebody that's made vertical decisions because look at what he's built in that short amount of time. PayPal, Tesla, SpaceX. That right there is worth 1,000 men's decisions.
Facts.
Right? Who else? Byron Allen, black man.
How about it?
Byron Allen is worth what? 400 million in one generation? Vertical decisions. Jay-Z. Jay-Z is worth Marcy Projects in 20 years. 20. He's only 50, right? Jay-Z has the results of 1,000 white men. Now let that sink in people's minds. Jay-Z is richer than 99% of the white men in the world.
How's that for discrimination?
Right. We don't look at it like that. Oh, the white man. Jay-Z is living a life that the average white man in the world will never know. How about that? Right? Look at the vertical decisions, though. Look at what each decision is worth. Rockefeller Records, S. Dots, Armadale Vodka, the Nets, Tidal, right? The shit he did with Samsung when he released Magna Carta, Holy Grail.
Right. Shit he did with Sprint when he released 444.
Shit he did with Sprint.
Right. He sold Tidal 33 and a third.
Right. Now, of course, niggas will say, oh, he's a sellout. How you sell out? What was his agreement to you that he didn't keep? What is a sellout? You know what's funny? So this is going back to habits too. We come from a culture that celebrates losers and hates winners. We hate winners.
Hated them.
We don't like how they win. Right? Right?
But super judgmental.
Super judgmental.
We in the bedroom, we in the ballroom.
Jay-Z's a pucker. To who? Name him. Jay-Z's the worshipful master in his lodge. He's the big homie in his lodge. What the fuck you talking about?
Right. And he worked his way up from the first degree to whatever degree he's on. Man, that's masterful.
Man, that nigga's the worshipful master nigga in his lodge. He's the fucking big homie in his lodge, dog. See, and the thing about it is, because of the standard, we can't fathom black genius. So we have to minimize that shit and shrink it down and undermine it to make sense of it. You know what? You gotta be doing some crazy blood.
Look, Jay-Z is not enough because he promoted selling dope to youth. MLK is not enough.
Right. Who's enough? Who's enough? Right. Who's enough?
Frederick Douglass is not enough. Because, they said Drew Ali wasn't enough because he got killed before he. Nobody's enough, right? Nobody's enough for these people.
Nobody's enough, right? So let me look. First of all, Jay-Z did not promote selling dope to children. Let's be clear. I have every Jay-Z album. Quote the lyric.
I'm just saying, this is,
quote them bars, because I know them word for word.
Oh, nah. Yeah, y'all got to drop them in the chat.
Yeah. Drop the bar where Jay-Z was promoting
these comments, shaking my head like, oh, Jesus.
You know what I'm saying? Yo, and the thing about it is, all rap music is not for fucking kids. So look, again, remember when I said about the standard, right? All of a sudden, to make our argument, now we want to be kid friendly. This conversation ain't for kids. I'm a grown adult. If I make an album, it ain't for kids. If your child happens to listen to my music and that's a problem, get fucking control of your house.
It got a parental sticker on it.
You understand?
Nah, I'm not co-signing. I'm just saying this shit got a parental sticker on it for a reason. You know,
Yo, I'm all over my son shit. Anytime he got what you listening to? What you checking out? I'm on his helmet. You feel me? So Jay-Z was talking to niggas that sold drugs. What the fuck is wrong with that? Goddamn, nigga can't do shit. Nigga go to work, he working for the white man. Nigga start a business. Niggas are never happy. You know what I'm saying? So, but the thing about it is,
let's wait. That's a challenge. What does nigga happy look like? Because I can't, when you said it, I try to draw a picture. Is it like at a barbecue? Because niggas get to shooting. So what does nigga happy look like?
Yo, this the thing up. This the thing though. This the thing. I don't knock nobody's money. If you came up in the game off dope, then you came up in the game off dope. If you came up in the game off getting a job, first of all, selling drugs is a service. Okay? If your mama got on dope, that's your mama's fault. How about that? You don't like that shit? Step your accountability game up, nigga. Guess what, Blue? I'm a felon. You know what my felony was for? Trafficking. Right? Whose fault is that? Mine.
Yours. It's participatory.
Nigga, I participated in the game.
Nobody forced you to motherfucking traffic no drugs.
You know what I'm saying?
Was you influenced by the music though? Let's talk about it.
Was I influenced by the music?
Yes.
Yeah. Of course. That shit was the soundtrack, nigga. You heard Cam? If you can't get paid in the earth and it's big, you worthless, kid. Nigga don't deserve to live, nigga. For sure. Nigga, them bars put a lot of my niggas in jail. But this the thing though. I can't hate on no one that was creating something for the market, dog. It's the hip hop business.
The market exists, right?
The market exists.
Clear about that.
Niggas could have been listening to Will Smith. You feel me? Fact. I didn't like De La Soul, nigga. Them niggas was too happy, nigga. I like Queensbridge rap, nigga. I like drug rap. That's what I liked. I didn't want to listen to De La Soul, my nigga. The most lyrical shit I'll go to is Cannabis. Nigga, I wanted niggas selling dope and busting blickies. That's the rap that I wanted to hear. That's what I wanted to hear. But I could have been on Will Smith, my nigga. It was some nice rap. I ain't want to fuck with that, nigga. I listen to Gangsta and the Gentleman.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I'm accountable for my decisions. So yeah, the music was the soundtrack to my shit because I come from poverty, right? Come from poverty. So it is what it is. But I don't expect them to make anything. Again, I chose that, my nigga. So, but they participated in the market. I can't hate on that. You know what I mean? The same niggas talking that shit, they drink liquor though. Right? The liquor store right there, niggas smoke Black and Miles, niggas do everything. It's business. Now, the thing that we have about this culture, we have like identity politics. We got hate in our blood and niggas count each other's money, dog. You know what I'm saying? That's the one thing about white culture, my nigga. You could get money in that motherfucker, dog. You could sell guns in that culture, my nigga. You could sell hamburgers. It's not a fucking problem, bro. You could get your money up when you go over there. You hear me? You heard?
Yeah.
Over here, it's an issue. You cannot come up around niggas, bro. It's always a fucking problem. Yo, what about the babies? Nigga, you don't give a fuck about the babies, nigga. Fuck out of here with that fake shit. Don't care about the babies, nigga. What about the babies? What about this? Like you really, first of all, I'm not really trying to ride around in my car, nigga, listening to political rap all day, dog. That got its moments, nigga. I'm in traffic, dog. That's unrealistic. That's not balanced, dog. You have to embrace your shadow self too. These niggas are fake with the fake morality. You know what I'm saying? And that usually is the conversation of niggas that don't fuck the women that they want. They got to settle for the women that want them. That's where a lot of that hatred comes from. You can't do it because you can't make moves, nigga. Because you was never the captain of the basketball team, nigga. You never hit the game-winning shot. Just Blue, understand, bro. We have a culture of a lot of people that have been losing their whole life. Right. So now they got social media and they're, oh man, these niggas is sick. Feel me? They never got the woman that they wanted. Right? They never did anything winning. Right? No one ever showed up for them. They got cut from the basketball team. They never was of somebody. So their perspective is always from the loser side of the game. But let me tell you something. I guarantee their language was changed once they get a win. Let's see what they look like with money in their pocket. They always telling somebody what to do with their bread. They always telling somebody what to do with their shit. They can talk like that because they've never been in a position. Now, the one of the dudes said Jay-Z's a sellout, right? But I would I would switch the question. How does a person be in the game 20 years like that and not fall off? What is he doing correctly? What is he doing correctly? Because it's easier to get money. It's hard to keep it. Why this nigga ain't fell off yet? Could it be he's smart?
Could it?
Could it be? Could it be? Right? See, again, this is the permanent underclass. There's no empowering them. You can't empower them. Right? The thing about it is no one's going to be greater than Elijah Muhammad. So if Elijah died, people go back to sleep, right? John Henrik Clark died, people go back to sleep, right? Tupac died, people go back to sleep. Maybe, just maybe, these are some sleepy niggas.
Just maybe. Just maybe.
Right?
You know, I have a saying that you know, melanated people, because of that carbon, because of that copper, you know, we could create a spark, but we can't hold a charge. You feel me? So, you know, while the people that are there sparking and electrifying the people, you know, the people is with the shits. But the minute that person is gone, you feel me? The people fall back into whatever they was, you know, the feeling is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Or the magnetism that attracted those people to purpose. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like the Atom disc that has all of them hands reaching out. You know what I'm saying? Touching people in multiple ways. Once that sun goes out
Mm-hmm.
and them hands disappear and it gets dark and cold, the niggas revert back to their primal self.
Mm. Mm.
You feel me? Because melanated people are governed by Cancer. They're not children of the sun. Somebody lied to you. They're Cancerian. You could tell by the fact that we're here talking about their emotional state. They come from the motherland. They're attached to this homeland because America is also consecrated under Cancer's birthday, July 4th. There's an intricate relationship between the Negro and America. They're bound by the ankle in destiny, right? They're Cancerian. But Esau was a moon god. You feel me? So, you know, this is a very interesting connection that we see dealing with Cancerian people. They're crabs in the barrel. They won't allow anybody to escape that particular paradigm. You know what I'm saying? Of poverty mindset, wherever the collective mindset of where the people are at, they're not allowing nobody to rise above that. So
why not though? Why not?
I'm just saying we're talking about that very thing right here tonight. It's just the energy that's on the people.
No, but what I'm saying is why won't they let someone escape? Why though? What's the why?
That's the nature of a Cancer, right? I mean, if we want to get into the psychological import of it, you know, somebody's success reflects someone else's inability to throw everything at the wall that they have. You know what I'm saying? Your success reminds me of my failure rather than saying, God damn, if you did it, like 100 monkey syndrome. I don't even know, is that even politically correct that we could use that analogy? But I can't, oh, I see you get up and you get it. Then I'm like, well, goddamn, if you did it, I could do it too. Right? Why does success not elicit that emotion rather than saying, oh, this nigga did it. He must have bent over in the motherfucking back room. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? He must have sold his soul. He must have this, he must have that. So it has to be something that's intimidating. It has to be something that's reminding of people of a false sense of lack. Because it's a false sense. You got everything that you need.
Facts.
Right?
Facts.
But you're being told otherwise. So it's triggering those things that have you devalued. Right? And you're being reminded, you're being uncomfortably woken out of your stupor to lift up one eye, your lazy eye, and look out and see this other nigga climbing the ladder. You're like, hold on. We don't do that here. What the fuck is you doing? You dig what I'm saying? So it's almost like the comfortability factor, you know what I'm saying, of complicity of failure. We all got to fail together. Shit, I don't want to fail alone, right? Misery loves company. So.
Well, but again, if we go in now, look, the people that we classify as crabs in a barrel, right? If we check their habits, if we hung out with them for a whole day and we got to observe what they do well and observe what they don't do well, I guarantee they do more dumb shit well than they do, you know what I'm saying? They do the backwards things well, because that's what a nigger is. It's an entity that undermines its self-interest. Okay? So the crab in a barrel mentality is a people that have bad habits. Everything is off. The language is off. The mindset is off. The diet is off. The networking is off. The fellowship, right? So you ask that crab that's pulling someone that wants it down, and you ask them, bro, have you really maximized on your potential? The answer is no, because 9 times out of 10, they haven't overcome their childhood fears. So this is not the conscious community anymore. This is the welfare community. It's about welfare. You know how people on welfare hate on the rich? The conscious community hates on the enlightened. And what they do is they consume so much information that they themselves feel like the chosen ones. And the people on top are really the lost. And that's how they sleep better at night.
Damn.
Right? You know what I'm saying? They say they say that, man, those people are evil, but those people are putting out all the informational books though on how to improve your life. Right? So those rich people are all sellouts, all devil worshippers, but Oprah got masterclass. And you poor niggas, look at the music you're making. Trash. So those rich devils and Illuminati members over there are putting out information that a person can apply to change their life for the better. What are you niggas doing? What can you tell me that I can improve my life? If I shadowed you for a day, can your influence help me do a whole 360 change? Do you have the ability to lift me out of the grave? Can you shine your light on me, my nigga?
That lion's paw look like.
With that lion's paw, nigga. Don't tell me that my melanin is popping. I ain't trying to hear that shit. You feel me?
Right.
So that's what we have, right? And again, here's the big thing, Blue. We've never had a Black general that did ethnic cleansing, right? When you look around the world, you see generals and societies participate in ethnic cleansing. The Negro retardation has been allowed to expand and grow rapidly to where that's the bulk of Black America. the bulk of Black America is retardation because the gene was never corrected. You see what Hitler was doing. You see what Pol Pot was doing, right? We've never had a dictatorship that, like Chairman Mao's China, right? That came in with brute force and made the nigga correct the behavior. So therefore, the retardation and the stupid talk has been unchallenged. Because if you hear these niggas talk, they talk so fucking retarded.
Bro, I'm in Atlanta.
They talk dumb, dog.
You ain't never heard.
They talk stupid, man. And you have to ethnic cleanse for the betterment of the race, nigga. Thanos was right. Thanos was right. You can't empower you can't empower a small minority of Black people because the majority of them, of the culture, is going to swallow them alive. You know what I mean? All these talented Black children in Black America, they're not going to be able to rise because their surroundings are going to eat them up.
Yes, it's the culture that eats its children.
Right? So if you did
Especially
have,
its most vulnerable.
man, if you did have a Black Messiah, he would never shine because the culture is going to eat him up.
Yeah, they're going to hate.
See, now the thing that made Thanos interesting and why we can't take that is because we deal with emotions, right? You have to get to the genius of your gene. We don't like that shit, but you have
they don't like that.
No, of course they don't like that. But meanwhile, look at your society though. Look at your society, and in the words of Claude Anderson, you niggas haven't moved one iota.
One iota.
Right? Do you remember when we was looking at the information about the forecast of the Negro population and like upward mobility?
Mm-hmm.
So what was that based on, like 2060, 2070?
Yeah.
So in the next, based on a financial forecast in terms of upward mobility, in the next 70 years, it's predicted that the race of Black Americans won't move 1 inch in 70 years. How's that possible?
Dog, that's...
How's that possible? Do you know why that is? Because you have to clean the species up. And if you really love Black people like you say you do, what's wrong with that? Nigga, I live in DC. You come outside, nigga, you tripping over junkies.
Facts.
They're in the middle of the street. Not just junkies. What about the unproductive, bro? You have to clean your species up. Period.
They ain't ready for that talk.
Thanos was right, nigga. Thanos was right. So
let's because people are going to be reactionary to that comment, you know what I'm saying? But I just want to preface it and say, if you were left with no decision, right? Either you had to do it or someone else had to do it. Then what's your game plan? Right? How do you respond in that particular scenario? Because it's no longer a question of whether it has to be done at all. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the shit has to be done. So if it has to be done, would you be the ones to rather do it, or would you put it in somebody else's hand? Or do you even have the testicular fortitude to even tackle such a situation?
I don't think, and that's the problem. The thing about the problem with Black culture is objectivity and the ability to make executive decisions. Now, Taj Tariq Bey did a lecture on the nigger factory, right? It's on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
We have a nigger factory, okay? And they're not going to do better. So what's the solution for that shit? Just keep letting it go unchecked and keep allowing people to produce fucking babies? Thanos was right. Do you understand? Now, if the people say they love black people, then showing your love is you have to make a gutsy call. You have to get rid of the unproductive. You have to get rid of those with the nigger inside of their bloodstream, and you'll know them from their works. We don't want to hear that.
Nah,
But,
they won't hear that.
but every single society has did that shit to get to the top of their gene pool, my nigga. Everyone. Everyone. And I'm not promoting the talent. I'm not talking about the talented. I'm talking about the unproductive. I'm talking about the people that you niggas ain't gonna feed. I'm talking about the people that you niggas ain't gonna house. I'm talking about the people that you drive by every single day. Now you care about them?
Right.
Now you care about them because I'm talking rough? You don't give a fuck about that. And the thing about it is, it's all good until one of them smoke your son. It's all good until you burying your baby, right? Because your child got killed by a retarded child that wasn't supposed to be here in the first place because his mother and father made it wrong. So you ain't never heard a black person talk like this. You lucky I'm not a general. You lucky I'm not a general because guess what? If I'm the problem, off with my head too. What the fuck?
Let me tell you something that was explained to me by African spiritualists. And, he told me, he's like, the story that they're telling about the creation of the European is somewhat wrong. He said that in melanated societies in Africa on the continent, they didn't let any genetic defects live, right? If a child was born in a village and they were retarded, they didn't give that child the wherewithal to come into themselves. They killed the child. You understand? They were not promoting any genetic defects in their society, right? They were culling their society to keep it genetically superior. What happened is that the compassionate mother, right? The cancerian, because cancer's mother as well, right? And this might even give you an indication as to why they consecrated this country under that sign, paying homage to the mother, because this is all a Masonic design dealing with the Ma son, right? So the mother, right, the compassionate mother, she took the child instead of killing that child who was an albino, and you know, she abandoned the child in the wilderness, right? Instead of enacting the village justice that was already understood amongst those people. You dig what I'm saying? And she did not enact that particular justice, and there became like a whole situation where it was like a tribe of these abandoned albino children who were raised in the wild, and then they went through whatever transitional process they went through. I don't know whether they transmigrated and ended up in the Caucasus Mountains or whatever the hell happened. You dig what I'm saying? But over time of those particular genetically deficient or defective children growing into adults, and then ultimately whatever species that they grew into, they never forgot. You feel me? They never forgot the enacting hand of justice. They never forgot that Thanos hand and who it belonged to, and they never forgot the woman who showed compassion and the mother. You dig what I'm saying? So you could frame that, not you per se, but I'm saying the listener, you could frame that and look at the relationships that you see today based on that particular dynamic. You feel me? And the failure to enact that level of justice to annihilate genetic defects led to this very Caucasian that you sitting up here complaining about to this day.
Man, executive Blue, check this out.
Executive decisions.
That's deep. Look, check this out. I have one kid, right?
Child, right.
But say I was just going around getting women pregnant, right? And my sons and daughters will not have an inheritance. In fact, let's say I never really do anything remarkable with my life. I have no contribution aside breeding and making babies. And say I get to 50 years old, right? And I'm no good to nobody. I'm taking up space, my nigga. I'm not working. I have no contributions to the society. What's my purpose then? Why would somebody plead for the life of me? And the only thing that I did was have children. And I left them nothing. So I brought you. Now, the probability of those children going out and harming the productive is high. Now, I would argue you need to eliminate my entire bloodline. because I'm a black eye on the culture.
Right.
And what's happening is we're letting the nigger shit go unchecked.
And somebody just made a good point, right? And this is how you externalize and internalize your existence as a people, because the only way that we can get through, right? Let's use some proverbial speech, right? What do they say? It's like a pin. It's like getting through the pinhead of a needle, right? The only way that you're gonna make it through the pinhead of a needle, you dig what I'm saying, is to excommunicate the nigga inside of yourself. So if you don't have the wherewithal to even have a conversation about getting rid of the external nigga, how are you ever going to deal with that internal nigga inside of you that's going to sabotage any community or society that you create? Because there's nothing antiquated about the nigga. The nigga, you can't find the nigga in antiquity. That is purely and wholly an American invention in the wilderness of North America, in the sex labs of North America. And you have an interesting concept about what exactly a nigga is. You want to share that?
So let's do that. Let's make a distinction of what I'm talking about. Let's say you have niggas, and let's call us Africans. All right. So you have niggas and you have Africans, which both of them can't coexist. So what should we do about that? Now let's qualify it. The African is going to build, the African is going to farm, the African is in the language, technology, the African is into advancing culture. All right. What's the nigger do? The nigga is a worthless eater. The nigga is a breeder. The nigga is self-destructive. The nigga is a property damager. The nigga has negative language. The nigga can't behave himself. The nigga has no self-control, right? What do we do with these groups of people? Do they live amongst each other, or do we separate them? Because the separation that the Nation of Islam now talks about, now you actually have to separate from blacks. Oh, I'm lying. I'm lying. Leave your door open at night. leave your bike outside, my nigga. Think I'm lying?
My nigga.
Now, I'm not talking about that.
Hold on. Let's have a nigga challenge.
Let's have a nigga challenge. Let's have a nigga challenge. We don't like that. Now, mind you, I just separated the African from the nigga, and the nigga's a creation. Okay, right? So if we all become Pan-Africans, can niggas go too, or no? I'm just saying. Right? I'm just saying. If we do Pan-Africanism right now, can niggas go?
I wouldn't suppose, but you know what I'm saying? I would imagine that some Pan-African got, you know.
You know the answer. You know the answer to that. You can't take no nigger and let him loose in the ecosystem in Africa. Africans is drinking lean now.
They're drinking lean now because
they've seen rap videos from America. The nigga has affected the whole fucking world. Now, if
Facts.
y'all don't believe me, there's a Vine documentary of Africans drinking lean. Who did they get that shit from?
Hold on, son. Hold on.
Yo, Blue, can you put the screen up?
You know I'm pulling it up.
Find
Right
the screen. You can't let you can't let a nigga go to Africa and affect the whole ecosystem. I'm talking about a subgroup of people who have fucked up DNA, nigga. And if I'm one of the niggas, then kill me too for the greater good of the goddamn people. Period. If I can't go, if they deem me as a undesirable, so the group can move on, then all right, you gotta do what you gotta do. Nigga, fuck my feelings, nigga. It's about forward progress, nigga. We don't want to hear that though.
They're not ready. They're
Do
not
what
ready
we
for
want to
that
hear.
tough talk.
And I'm talking about the productive, those that add to the group,
Right.
the scientists, the chemists, the architects, the builders, and an efficient working class.
All right. So here we go, y'all.
Oh shit, here we go. Let's show this shit. Since
Right.
they're in the chat room telling me you can't kill niggas. Okay, cool. Let's do it.
Right.
Show me what
And
niggas.
hold on. Let's jump. Let's go to Nigeria first. No, let's go to Zimbabwe first. Okay. Right. How lean became rap's most wanted drug. Okay. Wait, this is just dealing with niggas. Hold on. Zimbabwe's codeine cough syrup epidemic. All right. Look at that. Look at them. Zimbabwe. Right. They just got rid of Mugabe was over there. Right. Mugabe done lost a whole generation of hip hop. He might have pushed the white farmers out, but he lost a whole generation of hip hop.
Oh, okay.
Zimbabwe is at risk of losing half of its youth to codeine. Half to codeine cough syrup addiction. Despite the growing problem, the government has not yet opened rehabilitation clinics. We found out why cough syrup has become Zimbabwe's drug of choice. You dig what I'm saying? And it ain't hard to tell. It's hip hop. They tell you as much, right? Because dude is here. What is he doing? He got face tats, looking like 21 Savage, and he's writing rhymes, right? But his gangster's not complete unless he drinks lean. So I ask you, what's more threatening to the world, the face of 21 Savage as Black America or blackface?
Mm.
Hmm? Huh? So let's go to exhibit 2.
Oh,
How
shit.
cough syrup in Nigeria is creating a generation of addicts. So this is not just relegated to one country on a continent. And for what I understand, Nigeria is pretty big, y'all. Right? And this is the elite amongst us. Look at his feet. Look at his feet. He has to be chained up like a slave. Do you know how difficult it is to kick a heroin addiction?
Now, Blue, this didn't come from no Blue. Are you telling me that this came from the influence of niggas in America? You're not saying that, are you?
I'm saying strictly and solely from the influence of niggas in America or niggas in Paris, because Paris ain't that far from.
Okay.
Paris ain't that far from Africa. So it might have been niggas in Paris. You know what I'm saying? Coupled with niggas in Atlanta and niggas in, other parts of America. You dig what I'm saying? This is the export that's going around the world that we have no cognizance of, that we're not mindful of what it is that we represent and we partake in. When the people see us, that's what they see. You dig what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And since Black society has been overrun by niggas, then those are the alphas of the society, right? The niggas and the pimps is the alphas of society, and the rest of the globe marches to that beat. Especially this particular beat is syncopated, right? It comes with a rhythmic pattern. So this is taking place in real time. You know what I'm saying? They're losing entire youth populations to cough syrup. to codeine, right? Which is heroin.
Blue, they got that from India. Niggas don't drink that in America, dog. Stop blaming niggas, man. Niggas don't do shit like that,
Yeah,
bro.
man, they got it from India. My bad.
Niggas don't do that.
They got it from London, from the blokes in London, because
Yeah,
they seen the white man doing it.
yeah. Come on, bro. You know, bro. Niggas ain't doing this. So, like I said,
Hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
Grief,
Shoot.
depression, a desire to be cool, or just some of the reasons Nigerians are falling for this drug. Musicians sing about the high it gives you. Dealers peddle it in nightclubs and on the streets. Teenagers mix it with soft drinks or swig it straight from the bottle at syrup parties. Huh? Huh? Eh?
But Blue, you got people in your chat that says it's the white people turning Africans into niggas. They're making the lean. They're the white people are putting money to promote rappers with that kind of influence. It's the white
Oh,
people.
wait, hold on. Here we go. You spoke India up. In 2016, India banned multiple brands of codeine cough syrup following reports. This shit is on the porch steps of India, right? Niggas ain't never been to India, right? Soleil just started doing Indian hip hop. And before she could even incorporate it into the culture, the threat of lean, okay, then made its way over there where they had to ban this shit. Why? And people is, oh, China and Russia's banning hip hop because, it's the fear of the black planet. No, you don't know what you look like globally. You don't know the threat that you represent globally to these people's oncoming generation, to their children. Don't nobody want their fucking daughters running around here looking like Cardi B.
Why we have a problem with being honest? Why we can't be honest?
They're gonna get that talk.
And I'm from this shit though. Just the thing, though. I grew up in this shit. I lost friends because of this shit. But that shit is a problem though. Why we won't be honest? We are very fucking fake. And anytime we talk about this, the flow. Well, what about white people? What about them? They ethnic cleanse their own people. What the fuck you talking about?
To this day.
They get rid of their fucking undesirables. What the fuck did you think happened in World War II?
All right, so let's get this out the way because he said, Big Pharma is the culprit. All right. He says right up here, right? He says right up here, Mr. Hussein, aka Baba Abeje, works at BioRaj Pharmaceuticals, a licensed medical producer with manufacturers a codeine syrup called Biolin. The company is a major supplier to northern Nigeria. He is one of a number of pharmaceutical companies' employees who the BBC have secretly filmed doing illegal cough syrup deals over the past few months. It is not illegal to drink.
Hold up. So this African person is doing illegal deals?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Got you. Okay.
He is right. It is not illegal to drink or manufacture the medicine, but it is against the law to sell it to people without a doctor's prescription or those who don't have a pharmaceutical license. Quote, even if someone wants to buy 1,000 cartons,
wow,
we won't give them a receipt, Mr. Hassan told us, explaining how he avoids detection from authorities. Corruptions like this is against BioRaj company policy, but it's helping to fuel the industrial quantities of syrup leaking onto the black market. Right? When we informed BioRaj that we had evidence Mr. Hassan was engaging in the solicit activity, he responded with a statement saying the company only sells codeine cough syrup legitimately, that Mr. Hassan denies wrongdoing, and that company chairman Bioku Rahman personally guards Biolin sales. Like all opiates, codeine is in the same chemical family as heroin. So, you could take that however which way that you want to spin it. You know what I'm saying?
We just out here protecting white people, my nigga, by stating the obvious. You know what I'm saying? just protecting white people, getting them checks. You know what I'm saying? You know them checks is
Look,
good.
let's just put a uh let's just put this in perspective. Okay. Pharmaceutical company employees who illegally sell syrup on the black market know just how addictive codeine can be. Amongst them is Chukwanayawi Madubake. Y'all gotta excuse my pronunciation. I don't want to jack anybody's name up. A business development executive with Imzor Pharmaceutical, which illegally sold us 60 bottles of codeine syrup in a hotel room deal in Lagos. When somebody is addicted to something, you get me, and he needs it, the price I don't think is an issue on this. He told us, this is a product that I know that I have 1 million cartons. I could sell it in a week.
Wow.
All right. So
This is a black man saying this.
it's an African. This is a Nigerian.
Oh, okay. 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 Gotcha.
Right. He got that work.
He got that word, bro.
He got that work. You niggas think you hustling? He got that work.
You know what I'm
Feel
saying?
me?
Now, but
Pushing
the
a
thing
million cartons in a week.
but the thing about it is we have a hard time accepting that. So what we'll do is say the white man is behind that too. So in every sphere, if a nigga's winning, it's because of the white man. If a nigga's losing, it's because of the white man. If a nigga's happy, it's because of the white man. If he's sad, it's because of the white man. He has no control. You feel me? Right? Now we pose the question, can niggas go to Africa too? No one answered.
Mm.
If we all migrate to Africa, can niggas come too? Are they staying? Yes or no? Will anybody answer that, Blue?
You know, if I had an open line, I would open up the lines. But they have the freedom of press is right here in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can speak freely. You know.
Look, so
And
what?
I repeat your comments. Somebody said no.
So because I'm saying, Blue, the people that's gonna
I
go,
said not niggas, unfortunately.
look, the only people that could, if look, to go to Africa, you have to have a skill. All right, you have to have something that can add to their marketplace. You have to have education, right? You have to be able to come over there with something that can be used. Okay, can niggas go?
Yeah, they saying no. They said only warriors.
Okay, so if niggas can't go, then what do we do?
What do? You leave them.
They just stay. They just stay.
They just stay.
Now I'll do one better. Since we have a group that is like, you know what, that's bad, that's wrong. Now, for those with children, are you going to mate your children with niggas? Is anybody going to mate their children with niggas? Just asking. Your beautiful daughter, your son that you love.
Oh, hold on. So somebody thinks that the complicity in niggerdom is just calling yourself a nigga. So if you stop calling yourself a nigga, you can somehow make the trip and no longer be a nigga. You know what I'm saying? I think that missing a lot of concepts.
I mean, what, bro? This is a very simple question because let me tell you something about the Caucasian and the Asian. When they're building their society, the trash can't go. Am I right or wrong? In fact, what did Europe do with their trash, Blue?
They dumped them in America.
Oh, wow. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Nobody would do that. No, they didn't. The trash is not what went to Australia, was it?
The trash went to Australia, bro.
So are you telling me that the European looked at the bottom part of society and said, you know what, y'all got to get
Cut
the
them
fuck
off.
out of
Yeah.
here. Are you thinking that?
Yeah. Damn sure we ain't responsible. Cut them off. Put them in the wilderness. You fend for self. You know what I'm saying? Let God sort them out. That's how they dealt with theirs.
Let me ask you another question. When people didn't fall in line with Idi Amin's plan, what did he do?
You murked them.
His own people, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Because they didn't represent the direction that he was going in, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So we have history in humanity of people making the tough decisions of getting rid of the undesirables of that society. Now, all the shit that we talk about, my people, you are talking about niggas. So what's the solution for niggas? I'm just saying. Because if not, then what you're saying is you're going to mate your children with niggas. Now, a nigga is a behavior. Let's be clear on what a nigger is. It is a behavior. And the mindset, the functionality of a nigger is self-destruction. Okay, let's be clear. Self-destruction is the behavior of a nigger. It eats itself. All right. So if you mate your beautiful daughter and your lovely son with someone from the nigger class, what you're saying is you don't love your child. My father was a nigger. Let me tell you how my father made it. I had a sister that lived right around the corner from me. I never knew that. I walked out one side one day. Someone said, Ken, you want to meet your sister? I said, what the fuck? I got a sister? So my father made it with a bunch of women, never introduced the kids with each other. And he didn't have any inheritance. He could not control his semen. He had babies with prostitutes. My father was a nigger. That's honest. We don't, see, I'm objective. I'm a student of Ayn Rand, motherfucker. So I'm able to make objective calls. My daddy was a nigga. His father was a nigga. Let me tell you about my mother's side. I come from 100-year history of broken black women. I come from 100-year history of women that lost their children. Since the 1800s, a generation is 30 years. So the dysfunction in my mother's bloodline, I can track for 100 years. Every one of them, my mother, her mother, and their mother, they lost their children, right? I remember my mother and my sister fist fighting. Now, this is the shit that you would think would go on in a white home. My mom hit my sister in the head with an iron. I mean, they're throwing blows. Fist fighting. Fist. That was the lifestyle of a nigger. Why can't I say that? Why can't I be honest about that? That's fucking honest. That's my life. I come from that shit. My introduction to black women is mothers fighting with their daughters. That's my intro. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
My mother has put my sister in jail, like shit like that. It's a deep-seated hatred. Why can't I be honest about that and say, you know what? If something would have came and just wiped us out, we deserve that shit. We deserved it.
It was
That's
that
all.
bad?
It was bad. It was bad. And
So-
everybody around me, their shit looked like that too. It was bad.
What I'm saying is that being in an environment like that, how do you filter through those experiences to make sure that everything that you look at is not looking at, you're not looking at it through that pain body?
I believe everybody gets the opportunity. The opportunities that I got, I just use mine. So because I knew that shit wasn't correct. So what I did was try to correct the gene. I made it right and stayed with the woman I had a baby with. Right? Her family didn't look like my family. They had issues, but their family didn't look like mine. I wanted to give my child a different kind of environment because I knew the shit that I came from was incorrect, bro. It was something wrong with how we grew up.
Right.
Okay? So,
But what I'm saying, like almost like Bruce Banner. Bruce Banner know he got the Hulk in him. You know what I'm saying? And he tries everything that he can to keep himself out of situations where the nigga will come to the surface, right? So do you find yourself having to do the same things in those environments that are not replicated to the one that you were initially raised in, right? That is connected to you based on those triggers.
yeah, bro, it's a battle every day because
Okay.
what the nigger has, and we all come from it. It's a self-destruct button. Let me tell you what it looks like. One day you wake up in your bed and you got a woman laying next to you and she fuck with you the long way. She love your ass, nigga. And then the kids come and jump on the bed and shit. Then you wake up, you go in your kitchen, you look at your crib, you know you living all right, nigga. You open your door, you go outside, you don't move to the burbs or you don't move to the outskirts in the county and shit. You hop in your whip, play your music, and it hits you like, holy shit, I ain't supposed to be here. Cause then the songs you're playing, the niggas that you used to listen to with that music with, they're dead now, right? The albums you used to cop and go to your man's crib, they're dead. When you used to chill in the crack spot, in the trap with your homies playing games and shit, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, all those dudes are dead, and you're playing this music, and now anxiety sets in because you can't believe that you're here, right? Now you're 35, you're 40, and you don't know what it looks like to be 40. So now you have survivor's guilt, and that nigger self-destruct button is about to take over your life because you found yourself happy, and now you have severe survival's guilt, like you ain't supposed to be here. Because remember, in your hood, 25-year-old niggas was OGs, and 40-year-olds was fiends.
Was
And you
fiends,
never
right?
seen what it looked like to have gray in your beard because you don't got no uncles,
Right. They ain't
right?
never make it.
You ain't never made it. So you got that nigger
And
chip
the niggas
inside of
is
you.
40. Yeah, they came home after a bit. They buff. You know, they might have one strand of hair, but they was preserved for them years. So you never really got to see what refined 40 looks like.
Yo, check this out. The other day I was banging Murder Music album, my nigga, right? And I was like, yo, who do I even call to be like, yo, you remember they all dead? You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
If I play the Lots We Are the Streets album right now, everybody that I enjoyed, you heard LOX come through in a yellow Lex, hopped out with the Air Force Ones with yellow
Look at the
checks, nigga.
checks. Ugh.
You
Ugh.
heard? If I play that shit right now, nigga, I'll shed a tear because why? All my niggas is dead or they in jail doing stupid ass numbers. So what that makes you do is it makes you tighten up and
Mm-hmm.
you might start drinking, nigga. You might start hanging out late because you feel fucking inferior now. Like what the fuck? That nigger gene, that chip, that self-destruct is like, oh shit, I'm happy. Let me ruin my life.
Yeah, can't be doing that shit for too long. What am I
Man,
doing? What am I doing here?
what am I doing? How did I get here?
That's some
See the
script.
thing. See the thing about it is, bro, you gotta know what it looks like to be married. Before we talk all this marriage shit, you gotta know what does that fucking look like? What's your point of reference?
Yo,
We're gonna turn 40. What's your point
you
of
ain't
reference of a
you
40-year-old,
ain't
bro?
you ain't never lied. You know what I'm saying? You ain't never lied. Like I go through that dilemma. You feel me? I be like, I want to do it, but what does it look like? You know what I'm saying? Where am I getting my source material and references from? Because I could think of like one or two examples, you know, who through the duration of my lifetime, they was able to keep it 100 and stick together, you know, through thick and thin, and they still there. You know what I'm saying? But you know, that's like one or two examples. And there's some things that I look at and I admire about the situation. There's some things that I look at that I don't admire about the situation. So you got to find that weird balance, but without having examples, you know what I'm saying? It gets hella tricky.
Bro, that you need a point of reference for things. And a lot of times coming from the environment, from like the self-destruct happens because we don't have a point of reference. For example, bro, when I was gonna like a few months before I was turning 30, I started bugging the fuck out because my daddy and them, when they got to that age, they crashed out, bro. I did not know how it looks. Right now I'm 35 and I'm like, yo, I'm kind of just making this shit up as I go. Right? Let me give you an example, Blue. That's very key. In Forrest Gump, Lieutenant Dan was determined to die
Right.
in battle. That was what he was living for. He got a point of reference from that shit. He comes from a heritage of men that die like that, right?
Right. Glory.
Right. I come from a heritage of crackheads and drunks, B. So what the fuck? Well, you know what I'm saying? I used to wake up in my big ass crib in Arizona and be like, yo, how the fuck? Wait a minute, a woman is loving me? Man, what's the catch? Because you can't love me. This is when my confidence was low. I'm like, what's the catch? Can a woman love me? That mindset is in mad guys. You got a woman fucking with him.
I can relate.
Right? She got a woman fucking with him. And he's starting arguments with her. He's starting to mistreat her. Why?
Yeah.
Because
you're going to trip it up. Yeah.
Yeah, because he don't understand why someone like her is loving on someone like him. Because guess what? When he was young, nobody was ever checking for him. His mama didn't show up for him. His daddy didn't show up for him. This is how the nigga shit starts, yo. Now, I would argue you're not born a nigger. You're created into one. The environment turns you into a nigger, man. All babies got a clean slate. The environment turns you into niggas because it steals your innocence, my nigga. And then you grow up hollow. And then you turn into a hollow man and a hollow woman, my nigga. And now that affects your productivity.
So this goes back to my question about nature and nurture. You're saying it's purely nurture or nature based on the environment? Combination of both?
I'll say you have the seed in you. Okay, the seed is in you, and when you come out into your environment, it's like photosynthesis. Soon as you start hearing them words, the seeds get activated. Soon as you, okay, so for example, somebody that's not from nigga culture see a crackhead and be disgusted. When you from it, you see a crackhead and be like, oh yeah, that's Wayne right there. Wayne, do the dance, Wayne. Right? Do the dance, Wayne start dancing and shit. See, the seed is in you. You feel me? It's in you already. So if you take the child out of that environment, the seed is still in there, but it's never going to be activated. Because once you take them out that environment, it's the biology of belief. The biology of belief is based on environment. Now, because of our background, we got the seeds in us, every one of us, right? And it's very hard to calm down once that shit gets activated, dog. You know what I'm saying? And it's levels of niggas, right? Now, my mama used to get high, but she wasn't my mama wasn't a dope fiend mama sucking niggas' dicks for hits.
Right.
My mama was a bougie drug user. So she had some standards in terms of
right.
Yeah, it's levels. Now look,
levels, right?
Like it's levels in the hood. Now the dudes that mamas was doing that, they never had a shot, bro. They are all gone. Every dude that I know that had a mama that was out there like that on that level type of dope fiend, all them niggas in jail or dead. Every last one of them. They never had a shot because it's levels. I'm thankful that even though my mama went far out there, she didn't go too far. You know what I'm saying? She wasn't turning tricks for hits. You feel me? So my nigger gene activated, but it didn't go to where it could have went though, to where I couldn't be pulled back.
Right. So you think that sense of decorum that she held, even in a situation like that, gave you that sense of a net? You still had a net. Your net wasn't broke. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm thankful
So
for that because she could
so
have
okay.
went further, bro. And
That's deep. That's deep.
the thing about it is, bro, yes, fathers are important later in life. See, like I need a daddy now. I didn't need a daddy when I was little. I needed a mother when I was little. I need a father now because I got so many questions. I'm 35 years old. That's some real shit. I
Mm,
need a father right now in my life. You
mm,
understand?
mhm,
I need a father right now. So when the mothers are broken down at that age, bro, that's where your confidence comes from. Your confidence comes from your mom.
mm.
Your mom tells you you are the shit. Your mom tells you you can go and you can conquer anything. Your
Anything, right?
mom creates that value.
She programmed that. Yes,
Hell
facts.
yeah. Hell yeah. Right? So when you ain't got a mama that's feeding into you, yo, any cold ass dude in the game, 9 times out of 10, check the background of his mother. Any nigga that's a slime greaseball, check the background of his mother. The woman sets the tone, my nigga. Now we don't believe that, but let's look in nature. You never see cubs with male species, bro.
Mm-mm.
Why is that?
Because they being reared by their mama. The male will eat them in some regards. You
Facts.
look at the little niggas competition for food.
Facts. Facts.
Um, so like I said, this goes back to the whole Cancerian aspect of what I'm talking about with melanated people. Shout out to Aquarius Maximus. We're gonna have her on soon.
You know what I'm saying? So the creation of the nigger comes from the mom. Now he don't start like that, but he gets created by the mom, right? That's why it's very, very, very important that the women have a philosophical foundation, bro. They have to be standing on something strong, mentally strong, because it's the women that create the nigger factory and the men enforce the shit,
Mm.
right? The women create the nigger factory and then the men enforce it, right? Back in the day when niggas was hustling, who was they was hustling for? Their
Women.
mother.
Right.
Now I'm
Gotta
trying to
get
get my
mom
mama
out.
out the
Yeah, gotta
hood.
get mom out the hood.
Trying to get my mama out the hood, right? Right? Now I'm not blaming the women. That's just what it is. She's the creation of the nigger factory. Okay. Now, the way that you fix that though is the women have to remove themselves from pop culture, right? If you're a mother and you follow the shade room on IG, that's a problem.
Damn.
I'll say it again. If you a mother and you
Damn.
follow the shade room on IG, that's a problem. Why is that a problem? Because you and I know, Blue, when we eat something, there's a stool for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
What about when we watch something? Is there a stool?
Whew. You mean is there residue?
No. Can you shit it out?
Can you shit it out? It's lodged into your
It's
subconscious.
oh, okay. What
Right?
about if
It becomes part of your water.
what about if I watch Wendy Williams? Is there a stool for that?
Nah, you ain't
Okay.
getting that out your system.
So
That
now,
don't pass through 72 hours like meat.
okay. So
Hold on. So
okay, sure.
if meat is killing you, right, based on the cumulative effects of toxins and you're passing the meat out of your body, right? Some of it is getting lodged and is putrefying. Some of it, right? What is that shit that you're looking at and listening to doing with an accumulative effect? Because you're not passing it out. It becomes part of you. Same way that people telling me, yo, I can't turn off R. Kelly. I close my eyes and I hear it. It's part of me. It's in my DNA. It's
Mm,
resonating. It's in my song. It's in my universe, right? That one song, Universe,
mm,
it plays on that playlist. So, yeah, if you're not removing that at all, you can't undo what you've seen. That's what they tell me. Yo, once I seen it, it's a wrap. It lives with you forever. Once you hear it, you know what I'm saying? It's programmed inside of you. So if food has an accumulative effect and you're passing it out of your system after 24 to 72 hours, let's take a real look at what the other food that you're ingesting. So food is not just what you put in your mouth, it's what you put in your ears, it's what you put through your eyes. You dig what I'm saying? It's what comes into contact with your skin, because your skin is the largest organ on your body. All of that is food.
Facts. So all that is food. So mama, right? So okay, so now, yeah, you got to do the Migos ad lib. Mama,
mama,
right? Mama, right? So listen, look. So when they say, you know, a man is supposed to protect and provide, what is a man protecting his house from? He's protecting the house from those narratives, right? So if I come in the crib and I see her on that shit, I'm like, baby girl, get off that shit. You got to get off that. You got to stay that, because guess what? What you're looking at is going to affect the child, yo. Because remember, there's no stool for that. So you're going to act out that shit that you're looking at. And what does the shade room deal with? Shade, right? Shade. You're going to pass that shade on to the children. So now look, because there's no dudes, not no dudes, I'm sorry, because not many guys are standing on firm knowledge, they're not in a position to check a woman, because a lot of them don't respect men, because men have done shit to her. So he doesn't have the nuts to check her. So he just lets her do it. As long as he could get some pussy, some head, and some asshole, he gonna let her do whatever. Right? But that's an effect. That shit affects the child though. Right? That's how you fix it though. It's the solutions are in the fundamentals. You understand? The media is media. What does media do? It tells you what to think, not how to think. Let me give you an example, Blue. The media creates a narrative like this. Has Tom Brady lost a step? Now you was not even thinking that shit.
Right. You
start
objectifying and looking.
Yeah, and now you repeat it.
Yeah.
Right? So look, has Nas fallen off? You wasn't even thinking that shit. Now you going to the barbershop talking about, man, Nas fell off.
Right.
Right? That's what media does. It tells you what to think, not how to think. Blue, now you know there's types of thinking.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Do you think your audience knows that?
Quite possibly.
I mean, let's get into those ways real quick. You know what I'm saying? Because this is important. So because you have to know what kind of thinker you are. Right? 1 second, I'll find it for you.
Yeah, family. It's 2:30. Thank you for staying with us. You know what I'm saying? As promised, you definitely is gonna get that tough talk. And you know, we're gonna exponentially grow from this conversation. So bear with the brother, he's about to post some things up.
Okay, Blue. So look, these are the ways of thinking, right? You got the scientific way of thinking,
yes,
the mathematical way of thinking, the analysis way of thinking, the synthesis way of thinking, critical thinking, creative thinking, judgment, decision making, strategic thinking, and problem solving. Now, each one of those have 1,000 words attached to it of study, right? I'll say it again. Scientific thinking, mathematic thinking, analysis thinking, synthesis thinking, critical thinking, creative thinking, judgment, decision making, strategic thinking, problem solving. Okay. Now remember, the media tells you what to think, not how to think.
Right.
Okay. So now again, if a woman is on the shade room, if she follows that platform, we can damn near consider that child abuse. Because because the youth is in such a crazy position now, we have to be radical like that. You know what I'm saying? We got to be
Mm-hmm.
radical like that to make those kind of judgment calls. Like, yo, if you fucking with this right now, that shit is detrimental to your child.
Mm.
You feel me?
Yeah, your baby can't eat that tea.
Your your baby can't eat that tea, right? So I can't blame that on the system. We don't have to fuck with that. All the shit that we do within the system, we participate.
It's all participatory.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We
Factoids.
are there's no rape going on. We consent. There's no such thing as a culture vulture. We consent to that. There's no even this gonna hurt people.
Ugh.
There we consent to oppression.
Ugh. Ugh.
We consent to racism.
I
We
can see.
consent.
I
We
can see
consent.
their. I can see their feelings. I can hear their
Yeah,
feelings.
you know what I mean? We consent to it. We consent to it. Because guess what? Yo, the thing, the reason why we consent to racism, someone will be like, how's that possible? Lack of confidence. You cannot be racist on a confident public. I'm not talking about bullshit confidence. I'm talking about real legit confidence because it's going to show in their behavior.
Mm.
Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. That's not real confidence. That's entertainment. That should make you feel good. Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. It sounds nice. Sounds nice. You don't really mean that shit though. You don't really mean that shit. Because if you really meant that, your kids wouldn't be at this school. Uh-oh. If you really meant what you said, what you're saying right now, you niggas would build your own shit. Uh-oh. If you really, really felt like that, you would have a standing army of your own.
Mm, mm, mm.
Right? If you really felt like that, if you was really black and proud, you wouldn't make a song about it, nigga. There would be
Oh, you
applicable
putting on.
going on with that shit. You feel me?
And yeah, you don't go from a sense of, how will we say, enveloped pride, right? Pride is far reaching. At that time, I would say, during our time, census said it's about 44 to 45 million people in this country. So I would say it was about 35, 33, 35 million people in the country in the late 60s. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? When that particular song came out. How do you go from resounding pride to cooking up work and selling it to people that look just like you? So the programmers had to know that there was a glitch in that matrix. You feel me? Or where does pride set in, you know what I'm saying, when there's no economic foundation, you know what I mean? But a prideful people are people that really love themselves would have practiced group economics
Immediately.
immediately and be like, oh, we know how to deal with this issue.
Right,
not
right, right,
not
right.
only because it's going to kick in, because we done it before not that long ago. You feel me? But
Blue, let me ask you something.
the minute the integration kicked in, like I tell people all the time, I researched Black Wall Street. I did a lecture on it. They said from their own mouths, they said the bombing didn't kill them because they rebuilt in 4 to 5 years. They said when they integrated and they allowed black shoppers to go across the tracks and shop in European establishments, that's what killed Black Wall Street. They not telling the story right.
Deep. Let me ask you something, Blue. Do you think American Jews love themselves?
I think they love the concept of Jewness, yes.
And how would you be able to prove that?
They have an unspoken solidarity that we can not only bear witness to in this landmass, you know what I'm saying, but they also have a satellite, you know, in the Middle East called Israel that they collectively put on for. And we see that they have a quiet, invisible standing army that will put his motherfucking hands and feet on you anywhere on the planet. And we also see that there's an economic imperative to them preparing their children for success at an early age, at the primal age of 13. So the adherence to tradition allows them to not only speak in rhetoric about having pride and loving who they are, but showing it in action. Even if by chance, if the parent fucks up, the institution alone, right, sending that child to yeshiva and making sure that that child got a bar mitzvah gives that child a percentage chance that's better than the normal or the average. I mean, that's my analysis of it.
Well, I'm going to say that they love themselves because they charge for their culture. Their culture is not free. Now, the thing, I call it like in our culture, we have slut culture, right? Where anybody can fuck you, right? You're the thing about a slut is you're begging to be mistreated. Like we beg to be mistreated. It's very interesting to me, right? So all these narratives of de facto love, it's not real. It's rooted in emotions. Again, let's go back to when I said Black leaders are pastors and motivational speakers. Those are the leaders. They don't affect the mind, right? Now, one thing that I can credit the Nation of Islam and groups back then, they went directly at the confidence of the Black public. They told you was God. That's confidence, bro. So what that means is you care how you look. You care how you talk. You care how your lawn looks. You care how you ride.
What immediately happened, they said it straightened the Black man up. So body language and posture has a lot to tell about a person's confidence, right? Case in point, I'm going to reach into my timeline and take a current example of that out in the form of Dame Dash. Look at his body language in the conversation. I don't need to hear what he's saying. I'm looking at what his body language is saying. So he's slumped, right? He has poor body posture. So if they're telling me that after Elijah gave them the supreme mathematics in the lessons that they straightened up, it means that their posture was resembling someone who is defeated, right? Who has poor confidence because of their, you know, they're slumped over. The chest is sunk in, right? The shoulders are bent, you know what I'm saying? Inward and what have you. They just got bad posture. So the information, the sense of pride makes you poke your chest out. And when you poke your chest out, you automatically straighten up. So now we're seeing the effects of language, of narrative, and how it can change a person from being in a quote unquote loser mindset to one where he's a winner, and he now transforms his environment automatically based on what he sees as a change in the mirror when he looks at himself. I'm a God. I can't be living around this, right? God is synonymous with godliness or cleanliness. So my lawn has to be manicured, you know. You know, my whatever whip that I'm pushing it has to be waxed and clean. So this is the whole narrative they give you now about, oh, you know, I got on gold because I got I got a king in my DNA, and why you live in that neighborhood though to look like that? Well, why that shit not register there? Because kings live in castles, my nigga. And now the motherfucking moats and bonds. Right? So why is there trash, strewn in your motherfucking yard, my nigga? Like, you know, your trap house should look respectable if that's the case. The fuck is you doing?
Real shit. So again, Elijah Muhammad called black people gods. That confidence right there. Look, again, back to language. Language is the liberation. You want to change the condition of Black America? Change the language. Because we have frames of reference when people use language differently, they became more liberated. If you track the progression of Black Americans pre-slavery, post-slavery, look at how when the Negro begins to use language differently, every time the Negro upgrades the language, he is one step closer to freedom, right? Frederick Douglass wasn't fit to remain in slavery based on language, okay? It's our language that's creating our trauma and dysfunction, our language, right? So when Muhammad Ali said, "I'm the greatest," that is necessary narcissism.
Necessary narcissism.
Right? I am the greatest. I am God. I am, you know what I'm saying? So that is important. So and the I am God concept is not entertainment. Entertainment, that's some intellectual shit. Because it's the same as Jewish people saying we are the chosen people.
Facts.
That's not entertainment. Everything else outside of that we're doing in New Age, say it loud, I'm Black and I'm proud, that's entertainment. And people don't believe that because let me tell you something. If Black means something to you and you're proud to be that, then you're going to reflect that in your dealings. Okay? You're going to reflect that on your social media. You're going to reflect that in the workplace because you have a pride about yourself. Because remember, you're Black and proud. But the people don't believe that because that's
how does that translate? What's the language, right? And we're not only talking about what comes out of your mouth. Like there's something called what's your love language? How do you love? In what language? You know what I'm saying? What does it look like? How does it translate? So it's the same thing as Black pride. What does it look like and how does it translate? Not your attire, not how colorful that dashiki is, my nigga. You feel me? Like the Black Panther wave ain't even last a whole fucking year to this day. We embarking on a year. It came out on 2/16. In a few days, we'll hit the anniversary mark. Oh, interestingly enough, they just spotted the actual Black Panther in Kenya for the first time in 100 years. You know, I appreciate mythos in the way that it translates into the Negro narrative. So that was very interesting. You know, but back to, you know, this whole concept of language, and language not only relegates to, you know, how you formulate sentences or what comes out of your mouth, but how you show up, you know what I'm saying? How you actually, you know, do what you do and how it translates. Because when the people are looking at you, you're speaking a language based on your activity. So what do you think nigga activity translates into the world? Like I said, what is more offensive to Black America, to have 21 Savage as the face of Black America or a depiction of a motherfucking blackface Gucci sweater? Which one is more offensive?
Okay, let's go further with the language because that's the thing though, and we'll take this and ride it all the way home. Language, Blue. There can be no slavery without the change of language. Okay.
Facts.
All of our problems, everyone, systematic oppression, Jim Crow, school to prison pipeline, eugenics, you name it, is rooted in language. When a person pulls you into their language, they now control the narrative. So, for example, if I speak Swahili and the person dominating me is calling me negro, right? That means black in his language, but there's a characteristic associated with that word, right? Right, Lou?
Right. Yes.
Right? So I was never black before I met the Spanish. So here's where Morris ideology and science is on point. I was never black before I met the Spanish. I had a tribe, a clan, and a nation that I belonged to. The same way as a Iroquois or a Seminole, Yamasee, Apache, they was never Native Americans until they met Europeans. Is that correct?
Facts.
They never knew themselves as that. So now there's a jurisdiction created for Native American, right? In their language. Okay.
Right.
Now, Spanish call you negro. Okay. You pull me into your language. Now I am slave to whatever that term means, right? Okay. You had to put the slavery on paper or it didn't exist. Here you go with the doctrine of discovery, things like that. Right. It's on paper. A nigger, a Negro, a black person exists on paper.
Fact.
Okay. Right.
Construct.
Right. Okay. So now here's the ill shit. So the way that you make the language stick is you have to create a movie, right? Many people don't have books from the 1700s nor 1800s. So their frame of reference for slavery is a movie, right? Because we tell the past and the future. All right. Roots, Uncle Tom Cabin, Amistad, Birth of a Nation. These movies affected the subconscious to where you think that should happen like that, right? And now you buy into it with the language. Okay. So all this time through movies, media, and language, we have created the situation that we are in today. Now, today, we use black, we use these terms that was applied to us. Then we take the intellectual slavery further by using terms like white supremacy, right? Then when we use terms of reference, when we talk about ourselves in the negative. All of our conditions is based on language. You change the language, you change the condition, right? In Roots, Kuta was not a slave until he accepted Toby. Toby had a character. And so what I call it, Blue, is if we think about software, right? Words are software. And let's look at words like apps. We all got apps on our phone. Words are like apps. The phone is the hardware. When you download the software onto the hardware, the software begins to change the characteristics of the hardware, right? When we are in another person's language and we don't master the language, that software takes over our hardware to where it affects how we think about ourselves. We think we're slaves. We think that's what our history is. We think and believe in white supremacy. We think and believe that the Negro is incompetent and the white person is superior. If we did, if that wasn't true, we wouldn't use terms like white supremacy. Us expanding the term and using the term white supremacy has further given the Negro a death blow because it's all about language. Now let's go over to Jewish culture. They speak in the positive. Hebrew language is a language of magic, abracadabra. Am I lying? Hello? Okay, how come they talk like that? Anybody wanna? How come when I go into a high income environment, people talk a certain type of way? And when I go into a low income environment, people talk a certain type of way. Now, there's a misconception that says that English belongs to white people. English is a commerce language. It's a language of commerce. No one owns it. It belongs to everybody. But the problem is when we came into the language, we didn't know the language to use to reverse our situation. But Blue, when we begin to know the language, we begin to change the situation. Again, look at Frederick Douglass. Start looking at the blacks post 1865. Look how they talk. And they acquired shit very fucking fast. Why? Because
Facts.
they're uses of language. Now we talk about Black Wall Street all the time. What we don't talk about is the language that they use to perform the things that they were performing. I guarantee you they had an extreme command of the English language and they spoke mantras and affirmations.
Yeah. I mean, not only mantras and affirmations, but I'm sure that the language was liturgical. I'm sure that it was the cream of the crop of what they were exposed to in the Bible, the more affirming verses, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And we know from this day to this day that they have a manifesting ability to them. Because if people are saying that our people are under a spell, you dig what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Then that within itself says, then there's a level of effectiveness in that.
Mm. Hmm. This year, to change your language, do not refer to you or anyone you love in negative terms. If your money is low, don't say that. Speak a different way. Someone asks you how you doing, say amazing.
Yes. I
Use
mean,
your Mhm.
in the shifters, we don't use can't, we don't use try.
Right.
Those are two words that we immediately eliminated out of our conversation, and it has shifted our paradigm. Just changing that frequency alone. We don't say good morning, we say grand rising.
Mm,
You know what I mean?
mm,
Um, how you
mm.
doing today? Wealthy. You know what I'm
Wealthy,
saying?
great,
Wealthy.
amazing.
Yeah. Shout out to billionaire 19, Pop Darby, RZA Islam,
Mhm.
Asna, who am I listening? Missing out. Red, Derek Race, you know what I'm saying?
That's important.
Monumental individuals.
Change
And
the
yeah.
language.
And we reinforce that amongst one another to keep our sword sharp, that the language continuously changes, So yes, I would second that. You know what I'm saying? I would second that challenge that the family finds a word to eliminate, if not daily, then weekly, and learn a new word that is one that's powerful and it's affirming, and that you get yourself on a schedule, and then you get other people around you on that schedule to affirm that word continuously.
Boycott bad language. Let's boycott that.
Ugh.
Let's boycott the way that we talk. And I guarantee if you look at your productive from a calendar year, a January to January, I promise you your life will change. Your life will, that's a promise. If you change your language, you will change your life. That is the big secret. That is the fucking separation between those that have and those that don't, those that are doing and those that are not. It is the language because, again, Bruce Lipton talks about the biology of belief. If you begin to use those words, man, that software, especially in virtual reality, things move fast. So I don't give a damn how poor your family is. I don't give a damn how uneducated your family is or any kind of trauma that you come from. If you change that language around, you will change the history of your family and the past is in the future,
Mm.
right? So you can make those slaves owners. You can make those slaves rich. You understand? Because we're dealing with coding. Language is technology,
Oh, facts.
right? So you are a human coder using the language. Yo, just change how you talk. Now look, it's alternative facts. Now alternative facts is actually something because we're dealing with another reality, okay? And you talk that way to create tomorrow. You bend space and time. when you command and use language, right? So you don't pray, you command, right?
Yes.
They're you don't fuck with no poverty God. You fuck with a God that, yo, is happy that you're here and wants to serve you. You see the movie Aladdin coming out? You know what I'm saying? The God is here to serve you. Why are you asking God for shit? That
Right.
doesn't
Make
make sense.
commands.
Make commands.
I tell
That's
people,
why.
yes, be affirmed in your invocations, your incantations. You know, don't be passive with this universe. Be fucking firm and commanding and demanding of it.
Mm, that's you know what I'm saying? So the thing is now, the funny thing is, let's look at Donald Trump. Donald Trump doesn't have amazing language, but he has incredible confidence.
Facts.
He has incredible confidence. This is why he's never
Incredible.
losing. And he has amazing belief in himself. You don't have to like him. Study success habit. He has incredible confidence in his ability, right? So that is the solution. It doesn't change overnight, but the solution is you being accountable. The solution is a personal solution of personal responsibility. It's not a collective we, right? You find you a few highway partners, and what I mean by that is accountability partners, and you hold yourself accountable, and you guys stay on each other, and you guys make sure you guys be great. And yo, there is nothing that you can't have. It's about having some things now. Okay. You man, your people bled for you to have things. And don't get it twisted. You're in America. You're supposed to be fly. You're supposed to be fresh. You're supposed to live a certain type of way. Because the probability of you born in America is a crazy. You could have been born anywhere in the world, but you're born in America. So you're here, yo, do it big and do it all the way and have confidence in yourself and put on so when people are born, they come back and study you.
Mm.
You feel me? They look at your works and say, I want to be like that guy right there. I want to be like that girl right there. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, that you can do that tomorrow. That is the solution. That is the fixer in Black American culture. The language. That's scientists. You are a scientist. Don't be part of the experiment. Be the person conducting the experiment
Right. And I
and
tell
speak life.
people the area of the brain that governs language is called matter of fact, I'm gonna do one better.
tell,
You know what I'm
tell
saying?
them that, man. Tell them that.
I'm gonna do one better for you. All right, and the poles are shifting. I got an article up here that says the magnetic North Pole is moving faster than scientists expected. You
Yeah,
know
I
what that
see.
means? That means that paradigm shifting is even more possible and susceptible at this particular time than any other time, and they can't even explain why. You feel
Wow.
me?
How about that?
How about that? So
Beautiful.
the shift is taking place,
Beautiful.
right?
Beautiful.
Let me do this real quick. Let me share the screen real quick. All right. Broadman Area 44.
Hmm.
Okay. This area is known as Pars or Popularis, and it refers to a subdivision of the cytoartic arch arch architecturally defined frontal region of cerebral cortex. Let's get to the functions. Together with left hemisphere BA45, the left hemisphere BA44 comprises Broca's area, a region involved in semantic tasks. Some data suggests that B44 is more involved in the motor aspects of speech. Some recent findings also suggest the implication of this region in music perception, right? So the B44 area of your brain is responsible for speech formulation, also music perception, and it also is related to hand movements. So this is all hip hop, right? The fact that when niggas rhyme, they got to move their hands, that's all B44 area of the brain. Now in gematria, brain even equals 44. And there's 4 lobes to brain. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm speaking a different language when I'm speaking about the law of 44, because niggas are still gonna be like, what?
Hmm.
Dig what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But yeah, this is the area of the brain that we have to gain control of it. This is our sword. 44 also equals military, right? So the Broadman area, 44 equals Aries, as in competition, as in war. You feel me? As in blood. So this is the area that's your weapon, your 44. The 44 part of your brain is 44. The 44 part of it, though, dealing with language, semantics, music perception. You understand? So I just wanted to end it on that note,
That's beautiful, man.
because it all goes back to 44 in my world. So,
That's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Man, you know what I'm saying? Blue, this was a great build, man. I gotta get up
oh
in a few
man,
hours. You know what I'm
I
saying?
already know.
Man, we
I
thugged it out.
appreciate you.
Yeah, we thugged it out. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? People could follow me. Go to KenBrisbon.com. I'm a social media entrepreneur. So you could go to KenBrisbon.com. I write ebooks and all that. And you can follow me on YouTube, Kenny Brisbon, and all that. And I hope we can do it again soon. But my main thing is I talk hard for a reason because I need to shake people up and I want to challenge because I believe in the genius of the people. I believe in that shit. But at the end of the day, we got to tell harsh truths. You know what I'm saying? And I don't make my conversation about crackers. We already know about them. They already got their shit. It's about us, what we gonna do. You know what I mean? And the time is now. And everybody
Facts.
can go. But I believe in the people and I don't believe you're gonna get to the genius being fake and lying to the people and telling them that everything is good when it's not. It's deeper than just emotional shit. Change that language, change how you feel about yourself, and especially black men, feel like you are a prize. Look at yourself as a prize, sir. Look at yourself as highly valuable. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? See yourself like
Absolutely.
that. See yourself like that, and your world will change. And it's very important that you see yourself like as a prize, as a rare gem, as a rare commodity. Don't let every woman get your penis. Don't get every woman your semen. That is your life force. Be very meticulous about that. You know what I'm saying? So, man, and black women, yo, take yourself away from the narrative, yo. That black girl magic that they're talking about, that's fake sisterhood shit. That's fake. That's fake. They're not talking about no real black girl magic because none of them is casting no spells. That's fake. You feel me? So do your own thing.
Yeah.
Don't fuck with
What's
the crowd.
what's your
And
cash app as well?
what the hell is my cash app? Kenny Briz.
Spell it out, please.
KennyBris.
Hold on. KennyBris, right?
Yeah.
All right, family. Let's show the brother some love. You know what I'm saying? He definitely poured it out this evening. This tough talk.
Tough talk, man.
Like I said, this tough talk is not for likes, but this tough talk damn sure is out of love.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying? This is that tough love. This is that uncle that we always needed, that every one of us need. That's just gonna tell us how it really needs to be told. So, I said once we're able to separate out of our feelings and really look at this information for what it is and see the truth in it, then we'll find ways to filter it into our reality and make the necessary adjustments. But in the meantime, in between time, I want to say peace, love, and light. Thank you to everybody that has ventured with us past the 3 o'clock point, you know what I'm saying, in the morning. And this is monumental. And we pretty much have retained the same amount of numbers that was here at 11 o'clock and midnight. You know what I'm saying? So this is a conversation I feel that people are very pretty much interested in and engaged with. And I really, you know, I affirm that we all grew from this conversation here tonight. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even leaving it up to chance. I'm claiming it.
Man, good
All
stuff.
right.
Bro. Abracadabra, man.
Abracadabra. All right.
For sure.
Peace, love, and light, y'all.
Blue, I'm going to sleep, man. I'll get with you, bro.
Appreciate you.
All right, man. I'll get with you, family.
Well deserved. Peace, God. All right. Once again, I want to say thank you, family. And if everything works out, we'll be back on Friday with another program, some more amazing content. Okay. Appreciate you. Peace, love, and light. And Cash App. $ Blue Pillar 44. All right, y'all. Until next time.